Welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnicky, and as always, I'm here with Jess Perkins and Matt Stewart.
Hello, Dave.
About speaking on the mic.
Hey, Dave. I'd fully forgot what we were doing. Just wild.
And we are also joined by a guest who knows how to hold a microphone, thankfully. Hello, Cameron James.
Hi, everybody. Just a bit of context. Matt is in a milk haze at the moment because he's currently 2 or 3 gulps into a litre of...
No, 750, mate. I'm
sorry, 750 mils.
Keep it reasonable.
Of Dare Double Espresso Robusta and Arabica coffee.
You say that's reasonable, but how many did you buy? Did you get 2?
I got 2, yeah.
It's usually a twofer.
This is a twofer. 2 for 8.
Yeah,
Can't say no to that.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
One
you could.
for 5.
You could say no to all of it.
The second one basically is almost half price.
Oh.
How much milk do you consume, day to day?
Well, about 750 mils. I got a handy way to remember that.
If you want to see Matt drink milk live, well, you can probably, he'll probably be doing that at our live podcast in Melbourne next month. We're doing our 4 podcasts
Holy
at
shit.
the European Beer Cafe on Sunday evenings, the perfect time to drink 750 mils of milk.
I mean, normally Matt would have a couple of beers on the pod. I think it would be unnerving if all of a sudden he just had a pint of milk. But let's give it a go.
Give it a go.
Slowly curdling on stage under the hot lights.
Just like as
Finish it with a spoon.
we talk about something like from history, and Matt's just sitting there going,
Yeah, starts with milk, ends with yogurt, huh?
That's disgusting.
Well, if you want to be part of this experiment, come to the European Beer Cafe April 3rd, 10, 17 and 24. These are Sunday nights at 8:45 p.m. And you can get a season pass. You can come to all 4 shows, Cam, for the price of 3.
And is this just available to me, or is this available to listeners of the show?
Yeah, you can. Everyone, actually. I'll make that open for everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's only fair. Yeah.
That's honestly a better deal than 2 for 8 iced coffees. So, just saying.
Jeez, that makes it a very, very good deal.
very
I'm
good.
listening. As Fraser would say.
And we should also mention we're doing 3 shows at the Melbourne Comedy Festival. Do go on the quiz show on Monday nights, April 4, 11 and 18. I believe the first 2 are now sold out or very close to sold out, but you can still get tickets to April 18. So why not come along on your Easter Monday?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Celebrate the rising of Jesus.
Yeah. With some quiz.
With a quiz. A comedy quiz. Learn, laugh, and remember Jesus.
With us.
The big 3.
Now, Cam, you're also doing a show at the Melbourne Comedy Festival. Are you performing on Easter Monday?
I am, yes. I am performing on Easter Monday because I also like to celebrate the rising of Jesus and the rising of ticket sales across the board over that Easter weekend. Always famously the busiest weekend for comedians.
Yeah, come and support us, please.
Yeah,
Don't leave the city.
Don't hang out with your family, for God's sake. Hang out with a stranger in a room talking about, weird jacking off experiences they've had or whatever the fuck we talk about.
Cam's top 10.
Yeah, so I'm in Melbourne for the Comedy Festival, April 12 to 24 at the Comedy Republic at 7 p.m. and I'm doing a show called Electric Dreams, and if you Google it, that information will come up.
Whoa.
Yes.
You're the number 1 Electric Dreams result.
Actually, you know what? Let's do a little experiment. I have a feeling the song will come up first.
Do you feel you have to qualify it with Cameron James in Electric Dreams?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, if you Google Electric Dreams just on its own, a TV series from 2017 comes up first, but it does star Bryan Cranston, so
that's good.
I got to give it up to Cran.
Yeah,
I got to give it up to
yeah.
Cranny. The second result is Electric Dreams 1984, the film. But it does star Bud Cort, so I do have to give it up to Bud Cort.
The Bud.
Yeah, no, you can't compete with Bud.
Yeah, and
So
then
then
the song by Philip Oakley and Giorgio Moroder, and then a few other things. And but if you add Cameron James and comedy, I'm the first thing that comes up.
Really?
Wow.
You beat out Cranston.
Yeah, I beat out Cranston. Actually, hang on, let me check. Bud Cort does get listed before me there still somehow.
And I imagine you're doing Sydney Comedy Festival as well?
Sydney Comedy Festival in sometime somewhere. I think May. Yes, May 12 to 15 in Sydney, May 4 to 7 in Perth, and May 17 to 22 in Brisbane, the city of angels. So I'm all over the shop doing this Electric Dreams show. I'm very excited to do it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, well, good luck getting a ticket now because ticket sales are flying off the shelves after this plug.
People do think they're seeing Bud Court, but it's...
No refunds.
Yeah, no
The
refunds.
great
Very
Bud
important.
Court. As a cinephile, you would know all about his work. I imagine.
I've seen Harold and Maude, which is one of his films.
Okay.
That is a great movie.
It is a great movie, and he's also in some Wes Anderson stuff. So there you go. And Wes Anderson is a filmmaker.
Well, I think of
that's
him more
true.
as an auteur, but yeah.
Okay,
Potatoes,
we're talking
potatoes.
movies on the podcast today.
I don't know. Well, you're doing the topic, right? Dave, do you want to explain to
Well, I
Cam
just want
and
to say
everyone
why
else?
I've got to pull you over
Okay,
there. Why
fine.
you're nailing words like auteur? Do you think you could nail your comedy festival venue?
yeah, fuck.
Yes. Here we go.
It's called
Don't say Hitler's bunker.
That was the working title. No, I was gonna. It's called Hong Kong Hubba Hubba Big
Ring-a-ding-ding.
Ring-a-ding-ding.
You got a big red car?
I just can't. My head wants to go to Big Red Car every time. And it is on at Bard's Apothecary.
Yes.
Fucking hell. Well, I haven't made it easy with any of this. And it's on the second half of the festival.
And that's your split show with Alistair Trombo Birchall.
That's right. We're doing comedy there.
That's right. Two stand-ups
Hopefully.
for the price of one.
That's
maybe.
right. Yeah. Monday nights, Angus Gordon is playing my role as I'll be doing the quiz with you two.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, I think links to all this stuff will be in the
I'll
show
link
notes.
to all that stuff in the description.
Yeah.
If you've just been skipping 30 seconds at a time, we're about to start the show.
And also, fair enough.
You've
Yeah, I
nailed it.
get
Well
it.
done.
Fair enough.
But check out the links in the show notes if you want to see any of us and all of us at the comedy festival.
Fantastic. And the way the show works, as Matt was trying to ask me to explain, is we take it in turns, Cam, hopefully you know this bit, to report on a topic often suggested by a listener. We go away, do a bit of research, bring it back to the others who don't know what the topic is going to be. You did a fantastic report last year, one of our favourites of the year with Alexi Toliopoulos, or maybe the year
That's
before,
right.
can't remember now.
I don't know.
Anyway,
It
who
all
cares?
feels like a blur,
But
doesn't it?
Yeah.
you reported on the Guinness Book of Records, a fantastic report. You got a brand new one here. I think that Matt might know what it is, but
I can't remember,
Okay,
but I know
that's good.
you gave me two options and I said they were both great. But they were both vaguely related to your show, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, yes, because my show, Electric Dreams, starring Bud Court and Bryan Cranston, is based on my teenage years when I was attempting to be a musician.
Yeah.
I wrote a lot of songs, very serious songs, and I recently have discovered the songbooks with all of that music in it, and I'm playing them live on stage and telling the stories behind them. So I wanted to do something musical for this episode.
I'm going to come see a show. I'm going to laugh a lot, but I'm also going to cringe a lot because I was exactly that same person. Oh my God.
Yes.
Some of the songs.
What kind of music were you writing?
So it was punk at first,
Great.
and then it became an emo type thing.
Yes.
And then
yes.
we pushed through to a sort of an indie rock sound.
Okay, right. So the natural progression.
Yeah.
Punk. Who are your punk guys?
Who are like my heroes.
Yeah.
I love NoFX, Rancid,
Okay.
Pennywise.
So California punk,
Yeah, love that
you were
sort of
heading
stuff,
toward.
yeah.
And then emo, did you dip your toes into emo folk? Your Bright Eyes, your
Love-
Dashboard Confessionals?
Still love Bright Eyes, absolutely. Still love Bright Eyes.
You two so they're feeling some real kindred energy.
Yeah,
here.
I can see what I had similar taste as well. And then indie rock, where did we end up? Where did our music taste end up?
For a while there, those bands that were obviously unsustainable because they had 60 members.
Oh yeah, like
you know,
Arcade Fire.
Yeah,
and
there's
Broken Social Scene.
4 drummers for some reason.
Yes. I always wanted to be in one of those bands. It looked like fun. There was a Newcastle band where I grew up called the Seabellies who were kind of ripping off Arcade Fire and Broken Social Scene. There was about 13 members, and during their set they'd all swap instruments and they'd be one guy would be playing the drums for a bit, then he'd get up and go over to the keyboards, and I would always watch them and be like, fuck, that looks fun.
Yeah.
I want to be in that. It just looks like a group of friends.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted now that I look back. I just a group of friends that all liked the same thing.
I mean, it did involve 10 people sleeping in a single hotel room.
Oh, God. Yeah, imagine splitting the money you make from the gig.
It's like
Yeah.
$6 each. And half a pint each.
Oh, it's a nightmare. Well, yeah, so I wanted to, because I've been spending so much time in this musical world for my show, I wanted to do a musical story or report for you guys today. I did have
Right.
2 options. One I told you about, and I might save that in case I ever am invited back onto this blessed program.
Hey, you are always welcome here.
All right, I'll do it again tomorrow. But the one I'm going to do for you today, I'm very keen about. I'm very keen because it feels like a movie.
Okay.
Like the story of this report feels like it would be a feature film.
Maybe something Wes Anderson could put on the screen.
Well, you tell me. You know all about the auteur and all that sort of stuff. I mean, you love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's real. Oh.
You know,
Tell
any
you
other
what.
cinematic lingo you can drop in?
Yeah. First AD.
This guy's been on set.
Yeah, he
He's been
knows.
on set.
You get stuff.
I've done an ad or two.
All right, should I dive in? What
Yes.
do you reckon? Okay. I'm going to start a little bit dramatically, but then we'll ease off into sort of normal talking in a sec. Okay. What if an ordinary person with dreams of rock superstardom got the call up to become a member of the most famous band in the world? Would they rise to meet the challenge? Would they lose touch with themselves? Would their lives ever be the same? This is the synopsis for the 2001 movie Rockstar, starring Mark Wahlberg as a normal guy who becomes lead singer in a famous metal band called Steel Dragon. It also stars Jennifer Aniston and the guy from The Wire as a heavy metal guitarist. It's a really bad movie, 1.5 stars. But it was one of my favorite movies as a teenager because I must admit, it's a great premise. Do you all agree? What if an ordinary guy
Oh, imagine.
got to join the most
Yeah.
famous band in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty solid premise for a flick.
And I mean, it kind of makes sense that this was like a favourite for you as a teen when you were, you know,
Hoping this would happen
exactly
to me.
right. You're like,
Yeah.
see, it is possible.
Yeah, I watched Mark Wahlberg do it and I thought that could be me with
I could do
Franz
that.
Ferdinand or Arctic
You
Monkeys.
see a lot of yourself in Mark Wahlberg.
Still do to this
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
I'm very similar to him.
There's a few sports movies, I think, that have a similar kind of
Oh
vibe.
yeah, anyone who's like a nobody who just all of a sudden is possessed with a touch of genius.
Yeah.
Like
What's
Air Bud.
Yeah.
Airbud
call up.
is very similar to that.
Yeah.
An ordinary
Dogs
dog.
can't play basketball. Well, there's nothing in the rule book about this.
Show me in the rule where it says a dog can't play.
That's my favorite little loophole in all
Yeah.
those movies.
Yeah.
There's always a guy going through the rule book being like frantically being like, well, technically chimps can play football. Did we do a chimp playing football movie with you? What
Oh,
did we
I
do?
don't think we did. Well, I'm going to bring it back. I'm bringing
Yeah.
primates back. So if you can find that movie, we should definitely do it.
I feel like it's something. Anyway,
All
so
those movies are from the auteur Robert Vince.
Yeah, Robert Vince. Is,
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Is he
you'd
the
be
Air
familiar
Bud
with his
guy?
work. Well, he was involved in that universe, and he split off to make his own films.
okay.
Including Most Valuable Primate, Most Vertical Primate, and Most Extreme Primate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So he is yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you see it, you know what we're talking about.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll check him out.
It's very specific decisions he made that no one else would make, and that's what I think an auteur is.
Okay, good. Okay, this was one of my favorite movies as a teenager, and it is a premise that is shared with the story that I'm going to tell you today. The story of Jimmie Nicol. Has anyone here ever heard of Jimmie Nicol?
No.
It feels like I have, but I haven't. Have I? Or
It's just
have
one
I?
of those names that
Yeah.
sounds familiar.
Yeah, it could be anybody.
Yeah,
right? Just
yeah,
a bit of a
Used to be off spin for England? Is that him? Jimmie
No,
Nicol?
he's not a bloody cricketer, mate. Take your sport and shove it. This is a rock and
Jimmie
roll
Nicol.
podcast today.
It does sound English though.
Yeah, you're correct. He is British. I'll give you a little bit of a.
Oh, Jimmie
backstory.
Nicol.
Hello, it's me, Jimmie
Come on,
Nicol.
guys. This is just.
No, but have a go, Cam. It's fun.
All right. Oh, I'm Jimmie Nicol in it. Yeah, it is actually
That
pretty
is
good.
good.
Yeah,
Fun.
now that I've done it, it is actually awesome.
Dave, do you want to have a go?
Nah.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
That's fair.
I'm Jimmie Nicol. All right, everyone, come on down. I'm a muso or something.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And you're spot on. He is a muso. I'll give you a little bit of info about Jimmie Nicol. James George Nicol, born 3rd of August 1939 in London, England.
James George sucks, doesn't it?
Come on.
Parents didn't think that through.
Two kings' names.
Yeah,
Beautiful
that's
name.
right.
James George. James George Nicol. Oh, that sucks.
How often are you saying the full name?
That's
including
true.
middle
When he's in
names?
trouble,
True.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James George Nicol. Oh, I hate it. Sorry, James, but ugh.
I don't know if he ever
Jimmy
did get in
George.
trouble.
Jimmy George is better.
Jimmy George is a
Jimmy G.
Jimmy
Yeah, I like
George
that.
is real gangster.
Yeah,
like a
Jimmy George
Guy
Nicol.
Ritchie movie. Do you know Jimmy George Nicol?
Yeah, see, that's all right.
Dave loves Statham movies.
Love.
I started watching one the other night. I didn't get far through it.
How
Which
dare
one,
you.
Jason?
The
Statham?
Wrath of Khan? No, The Wrath of Man?
Oh boy.
Well, you haven't even heard of it, and you're a big Statham fan.
I mean, they all sound very similar, and they all are very
It
similar.
was real weird.
Right.
It was like it felt like all the actors were doing it at gunpoint or something. They all looked
Maybe
nervous
this
and
is one of
unconvinced.
those. Was it one of those really cheap action movies knocked off for streaming or whatever?
Oh, maybe
Because they probably
It
only
did- it looked
they probably
pretty
are
cheap,
doing it
yeah.
at gunpoint.
Yeah,
I think
right.
they film a lot of those in like Eastern Europe somewhere,
Right.
and
Yeah.
there's no union, and there's mafia hanging around set.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well, that makes sense.
They have a day to shoot all their scenes
Yeah.
and shit,
Yeah.
so they're probably just freaking out.
That
like-
makes sense. That's how it felt.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
I mean, I've never heard of it, and I'm a movie guy, you know.
I'm just looking it up. It's a Guy Ritchie movie from last year, and it also stars Post Malone, so you know it's good.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Wow.
He's an actor now. Post Malone. It's that easy, folks. If you want to get into the biz, tattoo a bunch of bullshit on your face and copy Kid Rock for a bit. All right, here we go. Jimmie
Cop
George
that.
Nicol.
Post.
Yes, sorry, mic drop. Milk drop.
Milk drop.
Jimmy was interested in music as a young kid. In his teenage years, he began to focus on studying jazz, and in particular, jazz drumming. And by the time he was 18 years old, he'd become a fixture of London's skiffle and early rock and roll scene as a drummer at the Two Eyes Coffee Bar. During this time, he was talent spotted by local music manager and impresario Larry Parnes, who quickly signed the young musician and put him to work as a drummer for hire in many local acts.
This does feel like a movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see?
Big time.
And I've cobbled this together from many different articles, and I've definitely arranged it in a way that feels like a pitch for a film. So if anyone wants to be a part of this project, I am looking for investors. Now, you're a music guy, Dave, so here's some of the acts that Jimmie George Nicol performed with. I want to know if you know any of them. I'll just rattle them off. Colin Hicks and the Cabin Boys. Vince Eager and the Quiet Three.
Oh, that's a great
That's
name.
good.
The Oscar Rabin Band.
So these are all skiffle bands.
The Cyril Stapleton Big Band. He also did session work with the Ted Heath Orchestra and the Johnny Dankworth Orchestra. Are you across any of those?
Big fan of Dankworth's work.
I love Johnny Dankworth.
Did any bands apart from the Beatles break out of the skiffle scene?
I don't think so.
No, that was the only
I think
one.
skiffle is like, no one talks about it as
No.
a genre cycle.
There's some people who never moved on from skiffle. They're still saying it. Skiffle till I die. Skiffle's
Yeah.
just it's such a fun
great.
name for a genre as well.
It's great. You going to Skiffle Fest this year, by the way? Get your tickets now. All right. Okay. So I'll move into some more familiar territory, and you've actually teased where this is going in a way. In 1963, Jimmy got hired as a session drummer for a cheap cash-in covers album called Top 6 Teenager's Choice. This was kind of a big thing back in the 1960s, if someone had a huge pop hit like Herman's Hermits or the Beach Boys or Elvis or something, the studio would try to make as much money as they could out of the song by licensing that song to other covers musicians and session musicians and selling it alongside the original in record stores. So if you like looked at the charts from 1962, you'd see whatever the number one hit is, like some shit from some skiffle band we've never heard of, and then like down like the 70s, 80s, whatever. There's just other cover versions of that same song lower in the top
that
100.
They've accidentally bought, you know,
Yeah.
like a knockoffs Transformers
Are they-
movie or something
Exactly,
that
yeah.
Grandma got.
Yeah, someone's grandma has accidentally gone in there and gone, oh, yeah, I think this is it. Yeah.
I have a feeling that is the market.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they were aiming for. Accidental buys or just like instrumental versions of the song or whatever, so people could sing along at home or whatever the fuck. Really dumb.
There used to be a sheet music chart as well, you know. It was a different time back then.
yes.
It's people buying the instrumental version, getting the sheet music. They want it all.
I used to buy sheet music. Oh, not sheet music, but they'd sell like books of all the chord charts for like bands and
Yeah.
stuff. I bought all those
Yeah, I've
fucking
got a lot.
things.
They were sort of
They're so dumb.
notoriously often wrong as
Yeah,
well.
because they're just done by some guy,
Yeah.
some nobody. They're not official. I had the Jeff Buckley one and
I
the...
had a Shania Twain one.
Oh, that's good.
Looks like we made it. Could play that, no problem.
I love Shania.
Hey, who doesn't?
She fucking rules. The top 6 record that Jimmie made, or Jimmie was hired to play on, was simply called Beatlemania! Exclamation mark. And was made up of 12 songs from the first 2 Beatles albums, with Jimmie playing the drum parts as a knockoff Ringo and doing a pretty good job. And the rest of the band sounding nothing at all like John, Paul and John. You can actually, you can look it up.
To be fair, the drums are probably the easiest bit to imitate. To sound like, that sounds just like Ringo. Hang on, let's hear Paul. Your voice doesn't sound anything like it. But this Ringo, that's the same drum sound.
I'm really liking this Ringo.
Have you seen that? There's a video that with Questlove and Dave Grohl and a few other drummers from a few years back, and they're all sitting on Ringo's kit on a white cyc, just talking about Ringo and like doing little drum fills and stuff, saying that's Ringo. You hear that, you know that's Ringo. So I don't know if it is that easy.
I'm a big Ringo defender.
Yeah, me too.
It's
love
nothing
Ringo.
on Ringo. It's just imitating anyone's drum sound is probably easier than imitating
vocals.
A voice.
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah.
And if you like, I've listened to this album on YouTube. It's all up on YouTube. Beatlemania, top 6, Teenager's Choice. And it's like clear to me. I don't know who the singers were, but it's in my mind. They're like way older.
Yeah.
They're like guys in their 50s or something who've been session singers for a long time, and they're really posh. They don't sound like they're from Liverpool. They're like, well, I saw her standing there. Like, it's bizarre to listen to, but with this like kind of rock music to it.
Right. Yeah, they're not doing full Richard Cheese or whatever.
No, they're
Yeah.
like trying to sound. The music sounds similar, but the singing sounds. It sucks ass. It's really bad.
Was it Richard Cheese? He used to do the lounge covers. Yeah.
I used to love that shit when I was a teenager.
It's that only lounge.
Yeah, lounge.
Sick.
It was so good.
Or the Aussie guy used to at Frank Bennett. There's a few.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess it was a bit of a thing back then where wouldn't it be funny if we did like boomer music, but it was new metal songs and
Yeah,
rap
yeah.
songs and stuff.
That's funny.
And it is officially funny, isn't it?
But I did. It was, it's nice. Sometimes you just want a bit of smooth music.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I like.
But you
smooth
want the
music.
lyrics to rock. I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo.
Yes, Richard Cheese, big fan. I'll pause the story here just briefly to give everyone at home a little bit of backstory on the Beatles. I know that we know who they are, but your listeners are 12 years old. They've never even heard of the fucking Beatles. So just quickly, the Beatles are a band
Yeah.
from Liverpool. Who had been playing together for about 7 years in England and Germany under various names before they released their debut album, Please Please Me, in 1963, which became an instant #1 hit and catapulted them into European fame. Please note here, not worldwide fame yet. They became so popular in Europe that their manager Brian Epstein booked them into a world tour with hopes of turning them into a global phenomenon. This tour would include 37 shows over 27 days in Denmark, the Netherlands, Hong Kong, Australia, where we are, and New Zealand, and would feature, which is not where we are, but it's similar.
It's quite close.
It's right around the corner.
I'd call them like next door neighbours.
Absolutely.
I think it's written into the Constitution. If they want in, they can be in.
Yeah, anytime.
Anytime. They just have to give us a call.
Yeah. Call us up.
We are
New Zealand.
waiting. Yeah, we've got a 24-hour number for
we
them.
don't need visas to go there. We can just go.
Yeah.
We can just pop over. And they can too. They can just come on
Love
over.
that.
Stay as long as you like.
Yeah.
You know, make yourself at home.
Chill out.
As long as you like, as long as the borders are open.
Yeah.
There is a
And,
real
you know,
vibe that I just think New Zealand's the best of us.
Absolutely.
big time, yeah.
Yeah. They know it too.
Yeah.
They know
Look at their
that.
Prime Minister.
Yeah, their Prime Minister's amazing. Their country's beautiful. My God, Lord of the
Well,
Ring.
yeah, that's a bit of a backhander against our Prime Minister. I don't want to get into it, but
Yeah, he's
bit more
beautiful too.
respect for the office, please.
Okay, so they were going to go on this world tour. They'd already been booked into it, and the world tour would feature them doing 2 30-minute shows per day, plus a press conference, pretty much just to serve as promo for the records. Their first stop of the tour was the United States of America, where they appeared on the Ed Sullivan TV show, and overnight they became the most famous band in the world. In fact, they were so huge that they no longer needed to do this pissy little promotional world tour, but the contracts were signed and the money had been paid, and Brian Epstein, the fifth Beatle, insisted that the four boys embark on this now redundant trot around the globe.
2 30-minute shows a day.
Yeah.
That sounds fucked.
Yeah, I know. Plus, like, interviews with all the local press.
And it was real tedious. There's footage of them just being fed up with it.
Yeah, they
just 'cause
hated
you'd be
it.
out of your head.
Yeah, of
from
course.
being
Like, they don't
tired
know
of
where
it.
they are at any point. One night they're in the Netherlands, the next night they're in Hong Kong. You know, they don't know what the fuck they're talking
They're in
about.
Melbourne, and all the journalists are like, have you tried the coffee?
Yeah,
and they're
we
like,
haven't tried-
sure.
Whatever.
I don't know,
yeah,
whatever. Big
Please.
Gloria jeans. I don't know.
Please praise our coffee.
Well, they didn't have the 2 for $8 Dare Iced coffee deal back then. So, you know. So there was just one problem about this world tour, and that problem was that Ringo Starr, the drummer, had gotten sick. On the morning of 3 June 1964,
You got COVID.
Bloody
the
hell.
first case of COVID was reported by
Patient
Ringo
zero.
Starr.
Wow, Ringo Starr.
Actually, close. It was tonsillitis. Tonsillitis, which is very similar because it's also in the throat area,
Yeah.
which is where COVID lives mainly.
Mainly, yeah.
Throats and asses. Ringo Starr was doing a photo shoot for the Sunday Evening Post newspaper in Barnes, South London, when he collapsed due to tonsillitis. He was taken to University College Hospital, where he was ordered to rest completely, and he was told not to go on the world tour.
Who collapses from tonsillitis?
Yeah.
This is the 60s, though.
How about,
you know.
okay, I'm your
Everything was a little
doctor.
more dramatic.
I'm your Dr. Ringo. Here's a teaspoon of concrete, mate. Okay.
Toughen up, bro.
You collapsed from tonsillitis. You got a bit of a sore throat.
Have you ever had it? I've never had it.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, she's collapsed.
It's really bad. You wouldn't wish it upon your enemies. But fucking hell, Ringo. Toughen up.
He couldn't, but he's a musician. They're artists. They're sensitive.
You can
know.
picture him going down, hand on the head.
Yeah.
Backwards.
I'm not feeling well.
Oh no.
Got bloody tonsillitis. That doesn't even sound like him. I just watched that 8-hour documentary on the Beatles, and I still can't do an impression of these fucking
I think
guys.
you were closer to maybe one of the others there.
Yeah, that
Ringo's
sounded
pretty.
more like
you gotta
Paul.
talk Thomas the Tank Engine
Yeah,
to probably get
I
to Ringo.
I can
Yeah,
only
true.
say fat controller.
Fat controller. No, that's hard.
That's
isn't
good.
it? No.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I think I was closer to Paul, and artistically as well. Pretty
The
similar.
creative Beatles,
So-
the
Yeah.
genius of the Beatles.
So he's gone down, and the others are gone. Oh no, we won't have to play Ringo songs. Oh no, we're at the movies. Oh great! Oh, what a tragedy. We won't be singing this on the tour.
Oh, bummer. Sorry, Ring.
Oh, it sucks.
John, Paul, and George presented a united front and demanded that the tour be postponed until Ringo was better, but this bastard Brian Epstein would not give in. The 5 of them were at an impasse. From the other room, their producer, genius, and 6th Beatle, George Martin, chimed in. because part of his duties as producer involves signing off on any cover versions of Beatles songs, and as luck would have it, he had just listened to and approved the release of a cheap, knockoff, cash grab, shitty covers compilation record called Top 6 Teenager's Choice
Such a bad
Beatlemania.
It's so long.
Top 6 Teenager's Choice Beatlemania.
I know my festival show coming up is called Hong Kong Cover, bring it in, but still, that feels like they could have cut one of those lines.
Yeah, just call it Top 6, right?
Yeah.
Or just Teenager's Choice. Not both. Also, because there's 12 songs on the record, so what does it even mean? What does it mean?
Every team, we ask 6 kids to pick 2 songs each.
And they can only pick the same thing. There's a very intricate rule system here.
But what an awful job for George Martin, who's got to
Yeah.
listen to every single cover version.
There's no way he did, right? He probably would just put them on for a second and go, yeah, that's fine. Yep, done. Let's get the money. I'm getting paid for this as well.
Yeah, how much do we make per one of these? Okay,
Yeah.
we'll approve.
Yeah,
Give me
done.
the approval stamp.
But has he heard one and he's gone, oh my God, that drumming sound.
Well-
it's almost identical.
Exactly. He just listened to Beatlemania and he found that the session drummer used on that album was an eerie mimic of Ringo's idiosyncratic drumming style.
There you go. Shut up, Dave. He showed me. I thought it was easy to imitate a drum sound, but apparently not.
Plus, he lived in London, plus he already knew the songs. So on that day, June 3, 1964, George Martin, the 6th Beatle, suggested to the most famous band on the world that if they needed a replacement drummer for their world tour, they should look no further than the 24-year-old rock star wannabe from London, England, Jimmie George Nicol. And as Jimmy recalls, I was just having a bit of a lie down after lunch when the phone rang.
Living the dream.
So he's
Man,
already
that's
got a
so
pretty
good.
sick
I'm
life.
loving that.
That's the way to live.
That's all I want.
It's very Italian.
If I'm ever lying down after lunch, I'm feeling fucking
That's
on
pretty
top of the
good,
world.
isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
I shouldn't have
I've had a delicious big lunch, and I'm gonna go have a little lie down for a
Holy
bit.
shit.
I'm digesting.
See where the day takes me after my lie down.
Oh, imagine getting the call. You're already on top of the world.
I know.
but maybe
Holy
you're
shit.
a bit groggy though.
Oh, that's true.
Oh yeah.
You'd probably
Food
be
coma.
laying there like, huh?
Is this a dream?
This must be a dream.
Do you want to play with the Beatles? I am dreaming.
I'm full as fuck. I can't.
I can't do it. I've had a big lunch. I had a pie.
Had a lot of cheese.
I was having
Cheese
a
trim.
bit of a lie down after lunch when the phone rang. It was EMI asking if I could come to the studio to rehearse with the Beatles. 2 hours after I got there, I was told to pack my bags for Denmark. Now, at this point in the 2001 Mark Wahlberg film Rockstar, Mark's character Chris, the nobody, receives an unexpected phone call from Steel Dragon's founder and rhythm guitarist Kirk Cuddy, played by McNulty from The Wire, and is offered the chance to join Steel Dragon as their lead singer. Chris adopts the stage name Izzy and joins Steel Dragon on a world tour. And this transition to rock stardom is not smooth for Izzy Cole, and it is also not smooth for Jimmie Nicol.
A lot harder to just slot into the frontman role.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, Mark Wahlberg is a 10 out of 10 talent. We love the guy.
He's got a stage presence.
He's got charisma coming out the wazoo.
Big time.
For starters, the rest of the Beatles were not too keen on the idea of some random guy stepping in and replacing their best mate because, I mean, you've got to remember they've been a band slugging it out for 7 years at this stage, even though they'd only just gotten world famous.
And
even
Ringo had
though
only joined.
Ringo had only just joined him a few years earlier.
But
Really?
that's how much they loved him. Didn't they boot? They
Yes.
booted Pete Best? Or
They had,
who was the original?
was
Yeah, it was
it-
Pete Best.
there was Sutcliffe at one point, right?
So he
Stuart
was the
Sutcliffe
bass
and all?
player who was the artist who wasn't really interested, I think. Jess did do a report on all this about
6
5 or
years
6 years
ago.
ago.
Yeah, Jesus.
Some of it's still hanging around, but I
Pete
always
Best
watch
was
the
the
Beatles stuff.
drummer who came to Germany with them for a big
Yeah,
chunk
and,
of time.
and basically it just was like, by the way, you're not in the band anymore.
Yeah, because they loved Ringo, because Ringo was kind of like famous in Liverpool as
Yes.
a sick drummer.
Yeah,
and
they were
funny
almost
dude.
intimidated by him early
Yeah,
on.
he was more famous than them,
Yeah.
and they were like, wow, Ringo wants to be in our band.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Let's get him and we'll kick this Pete guy out.
That's how we're feeling right now with you on this podcast. He wants to be on our podcast.
I'm going to replace one of you.
Matt, I went to me.
There can only be one Ginger. I mean, it's very true. So they felt lucky to have Ringo in their group, and so they didn't like the idea of replacing him on this tour. George Martin says they nearly didn't go on the Australian tour. George Harrison is a very loyal person, and he said, if Ringo's not part of the group, it's not the Beatles. I don't see why we should do it, and I'm not going to. It took all of Brian's and my persuasion to tell George that if he didn't do it, he was letting everybody down. Yeah.
Especially Jimmie Nicol, who's like, please, can we
Just
go?
let me go on
Please.
this tour, guys. George Harrison says, yes, I was very against that. I didn't want to do the tour without Ringo. It's stupid. It's like Cliff Richard getting sick and putting someone else in his place. The Beatles were and always will be
that
the
helps me
four
understand
Fabs.
it.
You get it now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Cliff Richard. Yeah. Right.
It's like-
Imagine someone else being in his place. That'd be the same as
It's like you go to see
replacing
Cliff
Ringo.
Richard and it's bloody Biff Richard up there. You're like, who the hell's this?
I didn't pay money to see Biff Richard.
Cliff Richard would have been so stoked to have been in that. It was like, imagine.
Yeah, I'm like the Beatles, guys.
Well, Cliff Richard's drummer's reading that. I'm about to be name checked by George Harrison. It's Cliff Richard replacing Cliff Richard.
God damn it.
I remember him. He's still. I feel like he's got a chip on his shoulder about the Beatles. Cliff Richard. I remember.
Was he? I mean, I don't know.
It was just
any
like
of
a
his
real big
songs.
pop. I think he had
Yeah.
a song "Living Doll" or something. But I think he had
yeah.
a lot of hits in the back in the day.
And the young ones, right?
Yeah, the young
Yeah.
ones did a version with him. But I remember an interview with him not too long ago where it was like, if you listen closely to the Beatles records, a lot of it is off key. He's like, personally, I've got higher standards than that sort of thing.
Holy shit. That's so
It's
funny.
like I think the jury's in.
Yeah. It's a bit late in the game to be doing that.
People are like, we should really reassess the Beatles.
I feel like now you've said that, though, Cliff Richard will be someone I get into in the next year or so.
Yeah.
I could see myself being like, actually, Cliff Richard's way more in key than those Beatles. Like, I got really into the Bee Gees. I still really am. But, like, mainly because people were shitting on the Bee Gees. And then I just was like, I reckon they're probably going to be really good. And I listened to them and they are. And I was going around for a while going, they're better than the Beatles. The Bee Gees
Love
are better
that.
than the Beatles.
I think you can make like all that stuff is so subjective. But I have the same instinct when people are shitting on a band. But normally my ones are worse bands. You know, like the Killers. I got right into them for a while because they're such a
I like the
punchline
Killers.
band.
Yeah.
I'm like, then why are they a joke band? They're pretty good.
They're pretty good.
And then someone pulled me up. They're like, the Killers don't need you, mate. The Killers are doing okay. They don't need you out there
You
going.
don't need to go to bat for them.
Yeah. That's normal. If you become a joke band, they're massive.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I come and go, oh, yeah? Let's see about this Nickelback. Let's see how bad they really are.
And everyone's like, yeah, dude, they sell out fucking arenas.
Yeah,
and
they're fine.
They're doing all right. Don't worry about
They're
it.
millionaires. Don't worry about them.
You're at Rod Laver Arena yelling, people are wrong. People are wrong about
They're
them. Give them a
actually
chance.
pretty good. So George is not into it. He went on to say, we should have been more forceful and said, no, we're not doing it. Also, it was no help to Jimmie Nicol's life to be king for a day. After some back and forth in the room, George finally relented, and on June 3, 1964, George Martin called Jimmie in his home, as we already know, and officially invited him to become a temporary Beatle. Nicol's first rehearsal was with the Beatles at 3 p.m. that day at Abbey Road and lasted just 1 hour.
Whoa.
It wasn't captured on tape, but studio records show that they performed 6 songs from the Beatles' current stage routine. I Want to Hold Your Hand, She Loves You, I Saw Her Standing There, This Boy, finally a song about a man in the mix, finally Can't Buy Me Love, and Long Tall Sally. The band all agreed that Jimmy's playing was up to stuff, and within the hour, he was fitted for a suit and had his hair cut into a traditional Beatles mop top.
Oh my
funny.
God.
I love it. It's like being drafted in the military.
Yeah.
They're like, yep, here's a uniform.
There's $3
They
here.
delouse him.
Yeah, you've got the, the uniform, you get the haircut, and then we've just got the plastic surgeon standing by.
Wow.
The vibe to be in there as well, when knowing that George is like, I don't want you to be here. I don't
Yeah.
want to be doing this. Would have been tense.
It must have been very tense. Now, this is a showbiz show. We're all in showbiz, so let's talk cash, yeah? Let's talk how much this guy got
About
paid.
time. Let's
Let's get down to the contracts. Exactly how much Nicol was paid for his brief stint with the band has never been confirmed. However, in a rare interview in the 80s, he claimed that he was offered £2,500 per show,
Wow.
which is about £45,000 per show
Holy shit!
today.
I was assuming they'd be paying him bad
Peanuts,
money.
yeah.
No, they paid
That's
him pretty
amazing.
well.
You know, £100 or something.
Yeah.
Which you'd still
Whatever
take.
union
Like,
rates
you're
were.
being,
Yeah.
you're being taken on tour. You're not paying for your flights.
And you'd be like, I mean, this is pretty good on my credits. If I'm looking to
Yeah.
be a session musician or
Totally.
whatever.
Yeah,
But
it's a good look, isn't
that's
it?
insane
And
money.
so it makes you
That's
think,
good money.
what are they getting?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly, because you know what
Because
I was comparing it to? The Wiggles. When
yeah.
when Greg stepped out and they brought in Sam, and he was just getting paid as like an employee, but the others are all
they're
like
all board members.
exactly. So
Yeah.
they're making insane money. Sam was still making a good wage, but not as much. And that's what I'm now thinking. How much are the
How
rest
much
of the
were they
Beatles making?
getting?
If he's
Yeah.
making $2,500.
Wasn't it kind of famous that they didn't get paid? Like, all their deals were pretty shitty. But obviously, their version of shitty is not my version of shitty.
Yeah, far out.
Yeah, I mean, for
Metallica did it differently. Remember, do you ever see Some Kind of Monster
Yeah.
when they signed Rob and they
Yeah. The new bass player.
Triolo, from Suicidal Tendencies and stuff, and they go, all right, you're in the band. Here's $1 million to get you started, and that was just like they're like, you're gonna be making a lot of money from now. Here's a little taster.
Fucking
Jesus
hell.
Christ. They should do that with comedy. They
I
should
agree.
really do that.
Yeah.
I'd take $2,500 a pod.
Yeah,
I
Yeah, I'd
reckon.
love that. I'd take 45,000. You know, I'd do.
I'd take what? I'd take $1 million.
A million.
I'd
yeah,
take $1 million.
I guess. And for context, this was about 1,000 times more than he was being paid a week earlier as a session drummer in London. So that's pretty significant.
I hope
pay
he lived
bump,
his
right?
life as if that would be how it was forever.
Well, I used to have one car. Now I've got 1,000.
As Jimmy recalls, that night I couldn't sleep a wink. I was a fucking Beatle.
Wow.
Ringo, on the other
was he
hand,
sleeping on a
was
pile
less
of money?
thrilled. Yeah, I mean, I guess. A gold toilet. Ringo was less thrilled. It was very strange, them going off without me. They'd taken Jimmie Nicol, and I thought they didn't love me anymore.
Oh.
No, Ringo.
Ringo's not happy about
Come
this.
on.
Did they talk to him? It feels like they just, like, George didn't go, hey, I really didn't want to do it, but it's only going to be short term. They just went, all right, we're doing
I
it.
guess we'll see Ringo when we get back.
He'll figure it out.
Don't worry, Ringo. We're only giving him 45 grand a show. It's nothing.
Don't worry about it, bud.
That is coming out of your wage. Get better soon.
And so, within 24 hours of meeting with the four likely lads from Liverpool, Jimmy was walking on stage with the band in Copenhagen in front of thousands of screaming fans. That first night, he felt completely out of place. He wore Ringo Starr's suit on stage with strategically placed clothes pegs to make his jacket fit properly. He was so nervous that first night that, as Paul McCartney recalls, he was sitting behind the drum kit just eyeing all the women. We'd start playing She Loves
classic
You.
nerves.
So
Yeah, you do that when you're on stage.
Oh,
right?
when I'm nervous. Oh, man, I can't stop.
Can't take your
I've
eyes off
become
the
a real
birds.
perv.
There's a woman.
He's
There's a
always
woman.
he's always looking at him. He's licking his lips.
That's when you know I'm really
Yeah.
feeling pretty anxious.
We have to have a chat then. Calm him down a bit. Hey, little fella,
Have
you
a
all
cold
right?
shower or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
We'd start playing She Loves You, and we'd count in 1, 2, 3, and he wouldn't start playing. So we'd start counting
no.
again.
They
1,
forgot
2, 3,
4.
still nothing.
like,
Well, yeah, if they
"You
got to
guys are
4, he would
idiots."
have known. According to reports, John Lennon would often turn around and show him his strumming on the 2 and 4 beats so that Jimmy could stay in sync because the screaming of the fans was so loud.
Wow.
The next night, Jimmy and the Beatles played 2 sold-out shows in the Netherlands, including one performance filmed for television in which they mimed along to the records. So I find that interesting because first he's been hired to just play like Ringo. Now he's just has to mime to Ringo.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre. And there's
Yeah.
footage of it. I've watched that on YouTube as well. It's weird because the Beatles are all very confident and good. And then there's just this random dude sitting behind the drum kit, just sort of looking scared and
Right.
weird. And
I hadn't thought it because I've heard in interviews that other members would say that Ringo in those live shows, because they couldn't hear anything, they could barely hear each other, that they really used him to stay in time with with each other.
now they've got this nobody.
Yeah, who can't keep time, forgets to start playing. It'd be a fucking mess.
He's facing the wrong way. Back to the kit.
He's got the drumsticks in between his toes.
No,
He's just
Jimmy, no.
He's just completely turned around. He's just forgotten everything.
And do you think it's like a news story? Like fans know Ringo's ill, or
It was.
so they're not trying to like pass him off.
Yeah.
No, they're not saying this is Ringo now. Like, it actually must have been really hard for him because there was big press about the fact that Ringo wasn't coming on
Yeah,
tour, and
right.
people hated that. I think people were sort of screaming, "We want Ringo" and shit, holding signs up at the airport.
He was the funny one.
He was the funny
And you
one.
could tell that when he played.
Yes, he played funny.
So,
Yeah?
he did play. He played funny.
But if there was one thing Jimmy wanted, it was to earn the respect of the guys. And if that wasn't going to happen on stage, then it would happen off. And that night in Amsterdam,
Push-ups.
Jimmy took the boys out for a wild night on the town. Lennon says, when we hit town, we really hit it. We were not pissing about. There's photographs of me groveling around on the ground, crawling around on Amsterdam streets on my knees, coming out of whorehouses, and people saying, "Good morning, John," and all of that.
Oh, all of that.
There's photos. There's photos of people saying "Good morning, John."
You know, which really doesn't that prove that they
Yeah.
were not pissing
They were not
about.
pissing
Not
around.
pissing
People
about.
are saying good morning.
He's on the ground. People are saying "Good morning."
Good morning.
Good morning, John.
As he grovels.
And he grovels. on the
People are bringing their
street.
bins out. Oh, morning, John.
Jimmy would later remember the night like this. Paul is not the clean chap he wants the world to see. His love of blonde women and his general dislike of crowds are not told. John, on the other hand, enjoyed the people, but used his sense of humour to ward off any that he didn't care for. He also drank in excess. George was not shy at all as the press tried to paint him. He was into sex.
The press was always saying, real prude. He's frigid.
George.
Actually, pretty frigid.
He was into sex, as well as partying all night with the rest of us. I was not even close to them when it came to mischief and carrying on. I thought I could drink and lay women with the best of them until I caught up with the Beatles.
Lay women is such a... They've got to bring that term back. You gotta
know if
get
they need to.
You gotta get laid, man. You know that sort
You're
of
not
stuff.
getting laid?
You're a bit uptight. How about getting laid?
Has that terminology left? I've been saying it the whole time.
I don't feel, that just
That's
sounded
because
really...
you walk around and say, "You got to get a root, mate. You got to get a
Yeah.
root," and I'm classy.
Man, you got to get a spoof out,
Yeah.
buddy. That sort of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what you
I'm
say.
saying that a lot, but people are still saying lay.
I do, and I'm people. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you
You are
say?
people.
Do you ever say it in the way like that?
Like, you need to get laid.
You need to get laid. That maybe that's more common. What did
He said,
Jimmy
I
say?
thought I could drink and lay women with
Lay
the best
women.
Do you
of
say
them.
something like
Yeah.
that? I'm going to go out and lay women.
Yeah, that is what I say. That's my plan for Saturday night if you want to come.
Okay.
Let's go lay some women.
Okay. Let's lay some women.
I'll be groveling around on the street outside while you guys do
Oh,
that.
good morning, Ken.
And all that.
You know, and the list goes on. Obviously,
Obviously.
those three things. You know where that's going. People say good morning, and I'll read the paper. That sort of stuff. Big nuts.
The next day, the group flew back to London where they caught a connecting flight to Hong Kong. There, on 9th of June, they played twice at the Princess Theatre in Kowloon. According to press reports on the night, Jimmy really had it figured out.
Yes,
Yes.
Jimmy.
He started to add his own flourishes.
Ooh.
When one of the songs ended, John, Paul and George were bowing. Jimmy continued to play a drum riff to milk the crowd for more applause.
Wow.
He's feeling himself
He's
now.
getting confident.
Yes.
The
This is
other-
what
The
we
other
like to
Beatles
see.
are hating it.
Stop playing.
Shut up.
Back at home, however, Ringo was getting worried. He lay in a hospital bed, his tonsils having just been taken out, and watched the world's press reporting about the triumph of his band around the world. Now, as we talked about earlier, Pete had only just replaced Pete Best a couple of years earlier, and now he was watching Jimmie Nicol replace him.
Yeah.
So he's laying in hospital thinking it's happening again.
Yeah.
Yeah, once a cheater, always a cheater.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, and he's like sucking back the most bitter jelly of all time.
Yes.
Another ice cream.
He was feeling insecure and a little bit worried, and so from his hospital bed, with his throat still swollen shut, he called up Brian Epstein and insisted that he was well and ready to join the boys on tour. Meanwhile, Jimmy and the Beatles had hopped on a plane and flown down under.
Oh, so the Australian tour was with Jimmie Nicol.
Yes.
Ringo didn't make it.
Ringo was in
Holy
hospital,
shit.
freaking pissing into a pan.
So he was the one fielding questions about coffee and laneways.
Isn't that crazy that the Beatles, they came in 64? I think that's the only time they came, right? To Australia.
Yeah, that's right.
And they had this nobody, George Nicol.
That's so
Wow.
fun. I just assumed it was Ringo.
Wow,
Yeah.
so Ringo Starr missed out on the opportunity to play the Great Festival Hall.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well,
now owned by
well.
Scientology or no?
Oh, yeah.
Let's
is it
find out.
Scientology or is it
I think-
our Prime Minister's religion? Maybe. What's that one?
Yeah,
Anyway,
you're right. It's been bought, though. You're right.
one of the cool new age ones.
I love Scientology. I think they're doing amazing stuff.
Yeah, you have some pamphlets you were going to share.
Yeah,
with us later.
yeah. Well, I'm going to talk about it at the end of the episode if you'll give me half an hour, 40 minutes to talk about why it's great. The first stop on the tour was Adelaide in the Centennial Hall, which is now the Adelaide Showground. They had 4 shows in 2 days. All of them sold out. And, you know, you guys are in comedy. You know how hard it is to sell tickets in
Oh,
Adelaide.
Adelaide.
They're very last minute purchases.
That's
it's
how
quite
big-
stressful.
That's how big you got to be to sell tickets in Adelaide.
Yeah.
Jimmie Nicol big. Maybe
Yeah.
next time we should see if Jimmie Nicol will come with us and maybe we can move some units.
Yes, yeah.
Featuring Jimmie Nicol.
Those Adelaide shows were sold out, but like at the last second.
Yeah.
At the
You know,
last
a few
second,
people,
yeah.
they're like, oh, yeah, we'll go.
To put it in like modern context, if the Beatles played the Adelaide Fringe, they'd be in one of the big tents in the Garden of Unearthly
Oh,
Delights.
yeah,
or something.
yeah,
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 sure,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they'd definitely get the Garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas,
Big
you know,
time.
we'd be over in Gluttony or something like
Yeah.
that, or, you know, possibly Rhino Room, which is a great venue, but, you know, the Beatles are, you know, they wouldn't play Rhino. Probably not. By all contemporary media accounts, by the time of the first Adelaide gig, Jimmy had really come into his own on stage. The excitement, noise, and size of the crowds would have doubtless urged him into a more aggressive style of rock playing, and the audiences loved it. This particular concert, the first night in Adelaide, was recorded by local radio station 2SM and has since become one of the more famous bootlegs of the Beatles, as it's the only recorded concert during their Australian tour.
Wow.
And it features Jimmy on drums.
Love it.
Whoa,
Which
that's
is
cool.
pretty cool. It gets circulated quite a lot online. Unfortunately, we will never really know what Jimmy's playing was like on that first night in Adelaide because the microphones on his drum kit malfunctioned 2 seconds into the opening song. I saw her standing there. And from then on, you can pretty much only hear guitar, vocals, and the crowd
Wow.
But
screaming.
those first 2 seconds, he
Really
was
good.
really
Right on time.
He was
Yeah.
really in time. But but despite that, people still want to listen to these bootlegs.
Yeah, I think people really like the bootlegs because it's almost like a 3-piece version of the Beatles.
Yeah.
It's like you can just hear the 3 boys singing up front, the guitars. It's up on YouTube as well, and you do every now and then you hear a bit of a backbeat of Jimmy on the drums, but for the most part you just hear the crowd going crazy and the 3 boys singing. It's
Well,
actually pretty cool.
The crowd are actually going crazy in time, though, so it
Yeah.
actually
So
works out fine.
It's actually better than
yeah,
Jimmy's drumming.
it's quite nice.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that Ringo heard that recording and went, "Oh, I'm worried now that they're just not going to have a drummer.
Now they're
Yeah.
going to go back to skiffle.
They don't need me."
They're going to go to the skiffle sound. The liner notes for the bootleg state: unfortunately for Jimmie Nicol fans, there was no microphone on the drums, but this does give us a marvellous opportunity to assess how the Beatles might have sounded as a 3-piece band. So there you go, that's official.
And also good for drummers who want to play along. You can play along
Yeah,
at
play
home.
at home.
That's
yeah.
fun,
You
yeah.
could be your own Jimmie Nicol.
Be your own Beatle. After the show, Paul McCartney asked Jimmy how he was enjoying his life as a Beatle, and Jimmy smiled and said, "It's getting better." Paul loved this response.
And Paul said, I've got an
Yes.
I've got an idea.
That's exactly right. Paul kept that little
No
phrase
shit.
in his head.
That's so funny.
Paul loved the response and repeated it over and over again for the rest of the day, and it entered his regular lexicon. I believe the Beatles, it became an in-joke in the Beatles. They would
Right.
say that as like a nonplussed response to things that they should be excited about. Like when they're playing for the Queen. Yeah, it's getting better or whatever. Like it became an in-joke that Jimmie started. On the next day, June 14, 1964, feeling high on life and ready to play, Jimmie and the boys all flew to Melbourne, Australia, the home of the best coffee in the country.
Yes!
Some of the most sensational beans are being ground in this place.
Yeah.
Good Lord. I mean, you'd know you've got a dare in front of you. How's that going down?
Oh, mate, I'm a slave to the bean. I love it. And, yeah, I can only assume these are... This is
That's got to be made in Victoria,
Melbourne
right?
mixed. Yeah, here we go. Dare, coffee, Docklands.
Wow, that is local.
That is local.
Yeah,
That's
that's
really
nice. Yeah.
local. Wow, that's
Locally
awesome.
ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Docklands a must visit for anyone.
Yeah,
coming to Melbourne.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. A hub.
Oh, you must.
It's a hub.
Yeah. If getting quick, they're closing down most of the major attractions there as we speak. But probably to put up even better ones soon.
Due to demand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a big wheel that's
No, we don't have a big
financially
wheel.
not viable?
No, we don't have a big wheel.
Sydney doesn't have much, does it?
No, Brisbane has one, for fuck's sake.
Wow.
You know, like Sydney sucks.
That's
You should
embarrassing.
take ours.
Yeah, we'd love it. We'd do something really nice with it,
I
I
think you
reckon.
would.
We'd attach it to the Opera House or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just put it right on
Oh,
top.
that'd be
Yeah.
nice.
Finally, people would go there.
There was a new NGV building, I think like a modern art building was announced this week, and they've said it's going to be Melbourne's Eiffel Tower.
Oh, no. That's a huge call, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's such a huge call and such a cringy way to frame it. Why can't it just be a new
Just
thing?
a nice
Yeah.
building.
It's also the Eiffel Tower's not like an art museum. It's got nothing. It doesn't look anything like it. Doesn't function in any way like it. Makes no sense. We've already got that's just across the road from there is a thing that kind of looks like the Eiffel Tower already.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Anyway,
That's someone going rogue in a press conference.
I
isn't
reckon
it?
they've
Yeah.
ad-libbed, haven't they?
Yeah. And the people in the office are like, no, why did you say the Eiffel Tower thing? For
People,
fuck's
that's
sake?
going to stick.
Yeah, people are going to make fun of us now. Okay, so they flew to Melbourne on June 14. When they arrived at the Southern Cross Hotel, they were met by the sight of Ringo Starr.
What?
Ringo
Hang on,
Starr
what?
had convinced Epstein to let him join the band for the remaining dates of the tour, and he was here to take his suits back and his spot behind the drum kit.
But number one, suits.
Suits first.
Give me that suit. Takes it off Jimmie's back. He's like, give
Give me
me
that, give me that.
So-
The pegs go flying.
No warning for Jimmie?
No bang.
That's brutal.
No warning for Jimmie. He just shows up and he's there. Ringo's there at the hotel.
That's rough for Jimmie.
Where's the Southern Cross Hotel, by the way? Is that still around?
I think I don't know if it is. I think it's across the road from Dockland Stadium.
Oh, we love Docklands.
Yeah, I think it was Southern Cross Stadium.
Yeah.
Or is that all I'm thinking, maybe?
I don't know. I'd love to go there, though, and see where they stayed and where they grovelled. And
Yeah, I went to the 50-year anniversary at Festival Hall where a Beatles cover band played the set.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
It was given to me tickets as a birthday present. But of course, it was so early in their career that it was just
Just
the
the
set
early
was really,
song.
and then they did a second set with greatest hits.
So they had to add some more
Yeah, I
shit.
think they're like, we can't.
Yeah, 'cause
just
it's
play-
half an hour.
They were still playing covers. They were playing Long Tall Sally and stuff. So,
yeah.
but yeah, as well as got to pad it out a bit.
So they take a little break and they come back and do the latest stuff.
yeah, but it's just so funny to be in a venue that's pretty big. I mean, I've seen Pennywise there. I saw
Yeah.
Pantera there.
Yeah, sure.
And then to see a cover band there, it was pretty funny.
For the second set, do they come back with like long hair wigs and stuff?
yeah, wearing the Sgt. Pepper's shiny suits. I can't remember, but that
That's so
sounds
funny.
like that probably did happen.
Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah, were they wearing era appropriate clothing?
I think they were. I think they were wearing those classic sort of weird grey suits they wore
Yeah.
without collars.
Yeah.
Which must have been in fashion for that
It
week.
was
or
like
whatever.
didn't they rip that off from Korea or Japan or something? I
Oh,
think it was like a
maybe.
ripped off.
It was a
fashion
K-pop
choice.
thing, was it?
Yeah, it was K-pop. Yeah, it was BTS or something. It's crazy. Okay, so they arrive at Southern Cross. Ringo's there. He surprised them. He's convinced Epstein to let him join the band.
Nicol.
And Nicol's just hitting his stride. The five of them had a drink together, celebrated Jimmie's brief tenure, and went to bed. The next morning, Nicol was woken up very early. The Fab Four was still in bed and driven to the airport to wait for a flight home alone.
That's so brutal.
Jimmy.
Didn't even get to say goodbye.
Isn't it? It's so weird how it was just like they were like almost in a music factory, just sort of like being sent around as
Yeah.
little pawns. It's like now it'd be like he'd have an entourage with him.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the guy who was in the Beatles for a bit.
But this guy just gets shuttled off to the airport. Probably
He's a has-been.
Tullamarine, I guess.
24-year-old
Yeah.
has been.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't get to say goodbye. Before he left, Epstein took Nicol aside and presented the young drummer with a gold watch engraved with the message from the Beatles and Brian Epstein to Jimmy. Jimmy spelt wrong.
How do you spell
He spells it
Jimmy
IE
wrong?
traditionally, but they've
okay.
put a Y here, which is an easy mistake.
That
but
is an
still,
easy mistake.
The attention to
I
detail.
feel like you might have noticed at some point.
Yeah.
Do they spell Beatles wrong as well?
Epstein also gave him a bonus £500, and that was it. Jimmy's 13 days and 8 performances as a Beatle were over.
His bonus fight was less than just being paid for one show.
Yeah,
and that
it's
was
a-
his bonus.
Yeah, it's a little extra though at the airport. Get
Probably-
yourself something.
Probably what he had
spend-
in his wallet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, you know what?
Get yourself
Going
a
through
coffee at the
duty
airport.
free.
Coffee
Yeah.
at the airport
Get
as
yourself
well.
some little
Probably what do you get? 1 or 2 coffees for that much?
Some McDonald's chippies.
Oh yeah, it's a
Enjoy.
real treat. I feel like I don't know why, but I feel like at the airport, I just feel like rules don't apply.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm in there getting multiple burgers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Krispy
yeah.
Kreme.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
go
it's
by.
the only
Yeah.
place you get a Krispy
Get a,
Kreme
Yeah,
these days.
get
Airport.
a bloody smoothie.
Yeah.
Really living wild.
I love to get diarrhea right before I fly.
I like to make a flight interesting. Will I make it?
I like to be sitting there on the tarmac going, "Can we please get up and go to the bathroom, please?"
Staring at the seatbelt sign. Turn off.
So
Beads of sweat. Yeah. Oh man, that was.
That's
yeah.
how you live.
that's living in comedy, right? In the final moments of the 2001 film Rockstar, starring Mark Wahlberg as Izzy Cole, Izzy cheats on his girlfriend Jennifer Aniston, gets addicted to drugs, and gets kicked out of the metal band Steel Dragon. Ditching his rockstar image and stage name, Chris makes his way to Seattle and starts a grunge band, allowing him to write his own music, finally giving him the opportunity to be respected as a creative artist in his own right. It's a really bad movie, 1.5 stars, as I said, but I do like that ending way more than I like Jimmie Nicol's ending. Jimmy's life immediately following his 13 days in the most influential music group in human history was not great. He spent his entire salary in 9 months.
No!
That's a lot. That was £45,000 a show
That is so much money.
in 9 months.
Wow.
Oh my god, he must have just been living like a fucking king.
He really did. He have 1,000 cars.
He lived like a king, and also he invested a lot of it in reforming one of his old bands called the Shub Dubs. Not a great name. And recording albums with them.
Well, that I don't mind that.
Yeah.
He's making an investment. He's
He's
like,
put
I'm
in
going to
his
turn
art.
this opportunity into. And you would think, it's like, if he was ever going to have a bit of buzz around
yeah.
him, it'd be then.
Yeah.
It's like when people go on Have You Been Paying Attention or something, and then
Yeah.
they announce a festival show right
That's
after
right.
it. Record sales were middling despite being pretty good. I have listened to some of them on YouTube as well. They are pretty good. He's a jazzy drummer by nature, so it's kind of that more jazzy, like jazz rock sound. It's kind of cool. I like it.
I know drumming.
Yeah, that was a really good impression. That sounded like Ringo Starr.
Yeah.
Within a year, he was bankrupt. His wife left him and took his young son, and he moved into his mother's basement. Sometime in the early 1970s...
And he started writing angry tweets at female comedians.
Sometime in the early 70s, he disappeared, apparently travelling to Sweden to tour with a band called the Spotniks. He wasn't heard from again until the late 1980s, when he gave his one and only interview about his time in the Beatles. He says of that time, "I felt like I'd wandered into the most exclusive club in the world. They have their own atmosphere and their own sense of humour. I loved every second of it. But after living through it, I don't ever want to be a Beatle. They spend their lives living in little boxes, in airports and airplanes and hotel rooms and dressing rooms. They live out of suitcases. When I was with the Beatles, I went out alone. Hardly anybody ever recognised me, and I was able to wander around. In Hong Kong, I went to see the thousands of people who live on boats in the harbour. I saw the refugees in Kowloon. I visited nightclubs. I like to see life. A Beatle could never see life like I did."
Wow, that's amazing.
That's
Yeah.
a good bit of perspective.
It's so great that he had that perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice bit of perspective. He's never said a bad word about the Beatles, actually.
Because it's so cool. He's like, I would never be a Beatle again.
Yeah.
And George Martin McCartney was probably like,
They're all like,
Yeah,
yeah, dude,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
a cover musician.
not really an option for you. So
I wouldn't be even if they asked. Nobody's asking.
No one's asking.
No, we weren't, just to be clear, we never asked, right? Ringo was coming back.
Ringo turned up at the hotel and I said, please, can you fill in for me tonight?
That would have been a good gag if he did that.
Oh, Ringo,
can you
thank
fill in
God
for me
you're
for the rest
here.
of the tour?
But yeah, that is great that because other people who were close to the Beatles, like Pete Best, I think he never really got over it.
Yeah, he talks about it a lot, right?
Yeah, and that's nice that he did go out and see things. Because the Beatles figured that out for themselves a few years later. They're like, I don't want to be a Beatle.
Yeah, true. They
It's a
stopped
nightmare.
touring. They
Yeah.
hated it. Paul McCartney, for the record, never forgot Jimmy. One rainy day in 1967, he was watching the sun come out in his backyard and he muttered the little in-joke, "It's getting better," to himself.
So good.
Picturing Jimmy, he smiled, went inside and wrote track 4 of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, "It's Getting Better." And that is the story of Jimmie Nicol, the 13-day Beatle.
Whoa.
I love it. I think it's a real insight into the kind of funny in-jokes they had.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
It's
yeah.
getting better. Paul's like, this is good.
That's good stuff.
Did you guys watch the documentary?
I haven't watched it yet.
It's crazy.
I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting. And then people said it goes for 9 hours.
Yeah,
and I
it's
was like,
long.
oh, I can't do that.
I also just find the time daunting.
yeah. I haven't
Especially because
started.
they only split up
I
into
put
3.
it on
Yeah.
while I was doing, like I was
Yeah.
cooking or whatever,
Yeah.
or sometimes I was fucking around on my phone and just had it on, because a lot of it is just them sitting in a room riffing.
Yeah.
And they do have a lot of in-jokes and they do a lot of voices. They mention Jimmie Nicol in the doco a couple of times
cool.
as a little joke, because they're going to go on tour for the first time in a long time, and they're saying like, oh, I don't know, like one of them's saying, I don't really want to play live, what's the point of playing live? And then one of them goes, well, we'll just call up Jimmy again. We'll get Jimmy on. And they all kind of chuckle about it. Like they clearly like the idea of him, and they found him funny and charming.
Yeah.
And,
Great.
and I think they must have found it really bizarre to have this young kid come into their lives for 13 days and then disappear.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And he
13
got
days
to
in
live it,
13
you know?
countries almost.
Yeah, he kind of got the experience, and that's something only the 5 of them know,
Yeah.
you know?
But it's not like, I mean, it wasn't necessarily them packing him into a car and sending him to the airport. But
No.
you could have like given him a call or
Yeah.
written him a letter or something.
I think the story goes that Paul McCartney got him a lot of session work through the years.
Yeah,
Oh,
Paul
great.
McCartney had his back and would say, you should hire Jimmy for your album or
Oh,
in your
that's
orchestra
cool.
or whatever.
Did
yeah.
he? Do you know any of his credits later?
There's credits on his Wikipedia page, and it's all stuff that Dave would know, like the
Bright Eyes, Dashboard
Holstein
Confessional.
Orchestra, stuff like that. There's all, I don't know, there's nothing
Jumped out.
nothing huge that we know, but a lot of like session orchestra recordings for the most
Right.
part, and jazzy stuff.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, he's fucking lived it, and he's, like we said, he's never given another interview. He's only done that one interview, and to this day, no one really knows where he is. He kind of does live this anonymous life.
So he's still
Wow.
probably alive though.
Yeah, his son was interviewed a few years ago, and he says Dad's alive somewhere, but he doesn't really want anyone to know about it. You know.
Isn't that funny? Because the Beatles mythology has grown and grown ever since, that he would now be almost like, even though he was in the band so briefly, it would now be a thing where he's like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like, there was a thing I did for 13 days. It wasn't
Yeah.
even a full fortnight.
I know. I know. I'd love to see a movie of this. I remember
Yeah.
reading. I first heard about this story because Tom Hanks is obsessed with it, and he's talked about it in
He
interviews
can
a
make
lot.
things happen.
Let's get Tom Hanks to make this movie, because he made that movie, That Thing You Do, which is about a one-hit wonder band in the
Yes.
60s, and I think
Love
that
that
was a
movie.
bit inspired by Jimmie Nicol, he said.
Ah,
I would
right.
love Tom Hanks to produce a wholesome historical Beatles movie about the story of Jimmie Nicol. So if anyone listening has an inroad to the Hanks compound,
Yeah, let us know.
let us know.
Let's make this
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah, I reckon we could. Would
Yeah.
you be on to direct, or?
I don't think I'd direct, but I would definitely like to play both Paul and John, if that's possible. So I don't know how we do
Interesting.
that.
You don't want to be Jimmy. You'd be on to be Paul
No.
and John.
I just think I want to take a small part, just Paul and John.
That's really big of you.
Yeah,
I'd,
thank you.
If
Yeah.
I could be like the concierge at the Southern Cross Hotel.
That actually would be a dream acting role.
Yeah, but it's a comedic role. She's kind of
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
You know, I really stand out in the role. People go, do you remember the concert? She's funny. I like that.
That is, I've thought about this a lot when it comes to show business. I've thought my dream is to actually just be one of those people that has to serve the main character in a movie, and I get to say 2 or 3 funny lines in a weird way, and no one knows who I am, but only comedy fans know.
Yeah.
That would be great if we could all get cast as hotel staff members.
Oh, I'd love to be the person that just says, "Good morning, John."
Yeah, that's good.
You'd have to say it with a Dutch accent, though.
I can do it.
Yeah. Gold member style. So yeah, that was my report, guys. And
awesome.
I think it's got a bit of sadness to it, but a bit of melancholy at the end. And we have to remember that it's getting better at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's
getting
beautiful.
better.
You know, I've looked up the Southern Cross Hotel. It sounds like it was demolished. It was closed in 1995. But for a time there, it was the preferred hotel for celebrities.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
After the Beatles?
Yeah, I think the Beatles. Well, it was only built 2 years before they stayed there.
So it's brand new.
So it was hip.
When I was, I went on a holiday a few years ago to America, and I stayed at a hotel that it was an Airbnb, but it used to be a normal B&B, and it was famous for John Lennon staying there at some point in the 60s, and it smelt like John Lennon still was there. Like, it was so gross and old and disgusting, and it was all dusty and shit, and it wasn't worth it. So I'm glad they knocked this old building down. That's what I'm saying.
Probably put something better there.
Yeah, I hope they put the Eiffel Tower of Melbourne there.
Well, the comedy...
Oh my God.
Melbourne Comedy Festival's obviously at the Melbourne Town Hall, and the Beatles came out. This is the town hall here.
Holy
and
shit.
they stood out on the balcony. So Ringo had obviously...
God.
He would have just
There's
flown in
Ringo.
that morning,
yeah,
maybe.
there's Ringo. Wow, he's in it.
Well, and
Jimmy's
I
not there
thought
yet.
that's why I was surprised. I'm like, I've just put Ringo into these photos in my head. But yeah, the crowd just absolutely flooded the street below.
Wow.
So you can't visit the Southern Cross Hotel, but you're probably doing a gig at the same place that they hung out in. And
That's
I think they hung
amazing.
out in that bar upstairs. There's a
really?
place in there that you can just wander into, I think.
And they would have hung out there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's kind of cool. We should try and get a photo at one of their big landmarks.
Yeah, that
while
would be
you're in
nice.
town.
The Beatles, if they did the comedy festival, they'd probably be playing Town Hall. Yeah?
Do you reckon main room?
Yeah, I think so.
Main
Or carpet room or...
The portico.
Yeah, probably the portico.
What holds more, main room? Yeah, main room or Athenaeum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Could do Athenaeum.
They could
Yeah,
do the
that's
ath.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you reckon they could sell the ath?
Yeah,
I know Dum Dum have. Do you reckon they
I don't know if they could sell for the whole month, but
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Maybe they just do a 3-night run.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
Chris Rock's coming out soon. He's not doing a full comedy
Yeah, he
festival
would-
run, which doesn't have the confidence to sell a month. But
Coward.
No, that would be nice. I'd love to go and get a photo there.
yeah, it feels like there's got to be someone like the old fella who's like the famous doorman during the comedy festival at the town hall. I've never asked him before, but next time I'm on it,
You're like, were you
Send
here
me
in the
the-
Beatles? It's the biggest insult. He's like, I'm 40, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, and I'm not good at maths. Is that a yes?
yes, we.
Just answer the question, bozo.
Why, yes, my father was working and I was a wee boy. I assume he grew up at the town hall.
But so yeah, you're going to be in town in Melbourne, but yeah, you're touring all around Australia, probably the
Yeah.
world. So wherever you are, just look up CameronJames.com.
Yeah, not the world, but yeah, I'm not doing the world tour. But yeah, come and see me do this Electric Dream show. I think it'll be a lot of fun. You're going to hear all the songs that I wrote when I was 15, and they're not as good as the Beatles songs, but they're pretty good.
Probably up Bee Gees.
They're more
or
Bee
the
Gees.
Killers.
Yeah, they're more like the Killers
Yeah,
level.
yeah.
Yeah.
The Killers were a big influence on me. So yes.
I'm excited.
Samstown. Do you remember they were listening to a bit of Bruce? It really changed their direction.
Yes, really did. Really did. You can clock off, by the way. You don't need to still keep going to bat for the Killers.
All right. You reckon they're doing
They're
okay?
okay.
They're doing
But
good.
the
They're
Killers are an interesting band like that. Two of them have just
Yeah.
retired from touring.
It's just the drummer
there's-
and the singer
Yeah,
now,
drummer,
right?
and then
Yeah.
the guitarist and bass player are just touring members. There are a couple of Jimmy Littles who tour with the Killers. a couple of Jimmy Littles. What's his name?
Jimmy Nicol.
Jimmy Nicol. Who's
Spent an
Jimmy
hour
Little?
talking about him. Can't remember this fucking guy's name.
Jimmy Little's a boxer or something. Anyway.
There's a lot of names in your head.
Is he,
Yeah,
is he
yeah.
the impersonator guy? It doesn't matter. But,
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all.
But Cam, that was a fantastic report. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. love the opportunity to talk about music, movies, and art and comedy.
Yeah.
And coffee.
Yeah.
So
The big five.
yeah.
Culture.
Yeah.
Culture's
that
in
probably
there too.
that sort of wraps them all
I should
together.
have just said culture, right? Because that's all of it, right? Yeah.
Have you enjoyed Melbourne's culture since you've been in?
Mm-hmm. I went to Half Moon Bay.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful out there. And I had McDonald's last night.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Really
McDonald's,
good.
It's one
And
of our great restaurants.
Do you know
Yeah.
what? It's I think the main appeal. It's so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they bang it out, right?
It's so quick.
I sat down and I thought I'll bring a water over.
Yeah, it'll be 15
Sparkling
minutes
or-
minimum.
Yeah. But it came right out.
Wow.
And they rushed me out of there too.
So we're going to need this table. We've got a booking at 6. Thanks so much for joining us, Cam.
Thank you.
You've got somewhere to be, so we'll say goodbye before
right.
we get on to everyone's favourite section of the show.
Goodbye, guys. I won't be a part of the Patreon thing.
He refuses.
That is fair enough.
He does not like paying his respect to the supporters of the show. And I think you should note that when you're thinking about the shows to see at the Comedy Festival.
no.
He doesn't support you. Should you support him? Interesting.
We should also mention you do a lot of podcasts as well, so
I
people
do.
around the world can hear you if they
That's
can't
true.
get to a comedy festival.
That's
Yeah.
true. If they, I do a podcast with Alexi Toliopoulos called Total Reboot. So you can listen to that. We talk about movies. And I do another one with other comedian Becky Lucas called the Becky and Cam Hotline, where we answer people's problems live on the podcast. So yeah, I'm out there on the internet, guys.
Nice.
It's all happening.
You're
all
very
happening.
consumable.
Oh yeah, I'm consumable. I'm a consumable good. All right, I gotta go. I'll see you
Thanks,
guys.
Cam.
Bye bye.
Well, as Cam James leaves the building off to do some other pretty fun thing, he's probably telling a story to someone else right now. It's time for everyone's favourite section of the show. It goes for about 30 to 40 minutes. Exactly. And it has the whole time. And it is a time where we thank a lot of our great supporters. Just before I get onto that, I've just Googled Jimmie Nicol. I'm like, I know this guy. I've watched that many Beatles documentaries that I recognise his face so well.
I reckon
of course.
I reckon the Beatle haircut they gave him is not for him.
No, it's not. He kind of looks a little bit like, and this is going to sound rude, like
serial killer.
the Beatle Frankenstein.
Yes, I was thinking
Oh,
that.
I thought that was too rude to
No,
say.
I
what
was
does
like,
that
he's
mean?
definitely got a Frankenstein
Like,
kind
he
of.
could, like with makeup to make him look more Frankenstein's monster. Of course, we're talking
Oh
about.
my god, I was about to say that
Thank
too.
God.
Get out of my head, Dave.
I've read the book. I bet you haven't. So don't even try and at
I
me.
don't know.
I think you mean
mean,
Frankenstein's monster.
Did Frankenstein have beautiful cheekbones?
He does have some chiseled
Yes,
cheeks.
he
Is that right?
does.
Does
Yeah.
Mary Shelley write that in?
Yeah.
And Frankenstein could not help but look at his monster's cheekbones.
Cut glass with those cheekbones. Oof.
Yeah, so I'm shattered his band didn't go on to do big things, but I'm stoked that he did not have his life ruined by that little snifter of the big
Yeah,
time.
that's right. It didn't. It didn't sound like it didn't ruin him completely.
Anyway, so this section of the show, everyone's favourite section, we thank a few of our great supporters. If you sign up on dogonpod.com or patreon.com/dogonpod, you can get all sorts of different rewards for supporting the show. People who support the show keep the show running. And for that, there's all sorts of rewards depending on the level you join. There's 3 bonus episodes a month, for instance. There's a Facebook group exclusive for supporters, the nicest corner of the internet, I
beautiful.
like to call it. And other things such as you get to vote on show topics and all sorts of other fun things. One of the levels, the Sydney Scheinberg level, you get to give us a fact, a quote, or a question. And that's what this section is now. And I think it has a little jingle to go something like this.
Fact, quote, or question.
He always remembers the ding. So in this, you get to give us a fact, a quote, or a question. Makes sense. You also get to give us a brag or suggestion, or pretty much whatever you like now. You also get to give yourself a title. I read 4 out each week. The first one this week comes from Claire Norris, one of our fantastic supporters. And Claire has the title of person who sits on a couch. No, sorry, I've added a. Person who sits on couch longer than I want because there's a cat on me.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you're about to move and then your pet sits on you and you go,
Well,
I couldn't possibly move him now.
Yeah, I've been late for many a dinner party. Sorry, the dog's on me, and it's very cute.
It's so cute when they put their little head on you.
Yeah, and they're like, I'm comfy. And you're like, I want you to be comfy forever.
I don't know if I've ever sat on a couch for longer than I wanted to.
Wow.
It's never quite enough.
What a privileged life.
Man, I love sitting on a couch.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm saying I only have short couch sitting
Because
sessions.
you want more.
Well, I'm always left wanting more.
Yeah.
That's what they say about a good couch. Always leaves you wanting more. Claire has offered us a fact. Writing, hi all, my fact is a hybrid suggestion and fact. I put in the hat recipients of the Dickon Medal, which is a medal given by the UK to animals for acts of gallantry and is called the Animals Victoria's Cross. My fact is that Simon the cat served on HMS Amethyst and received the Dickon Medal and 2 other awards for his acts of service.
Oh, thank you, Simon the cat, you little brave hero.
That sounds like a cat that's not on a couch.
Yeah.
It's out there doing
That cat.
actions.
That-
Not resting
catching
on any
mice.
laurels. Simon was badly wounded during the Yangtze incident from cannon fire, as was the ship. During the 101-day siege, and while recovering, Simon... I've said that so weird. No, I think it's been written weird. I blame Claire. During the 101-day siege and while recovering, Simon defended the ship from rats. No, it was me, not Claire. He died later that year and was I said that with too much glee. You know when you're reading and you're not taking in the words?
Yeah.
He died later that year.
Lol.
and was awarded the medal, and his citation read, quote, for distinguished and meritorious service, single-handedly and unarmed, stalk down and destroy Mao Zedong, a rat guilty of raiding food supplies which were critically short. Be it further known that from April the 22nd to August the 4th, you did rid HMS Amethyst of pestilence and vermin with unrelenting faithfulness. Simon is the only cat to receive the Dickon Medal. Thank you for the pod and bring me new information and laughs each week. Claire, it is our honour. Thank you so much for bringing the Dickon Medal back to our attention.
I love that someone looked at a cat and said, that cat needs a Dickon.
That cat needs a Dickon. That pussy needs a Dickon. All right. If only Jimmie Nicol was here to give us a little rim shot, so to speak. Anyway, I imagine he'd be quite good at them. All right, thank you, Claire. The next one comes from Betsy, a.k.a. Captain Bringdown.
Oh.
Looking forward to this.
Here we go.
With a fact. Betsy writes, this is a grim fact that is followed by a suggestion. I've worked as a vet technician, or vet nurse as some of us are called, for the past 16 years. And the fact I would like to share hits very close to home for me. Vets and other veterinary... vets and other... I don't know if you noticed that, but I was saying vet because I struggle with veterinarian.
It's another February.
It's a bit of a February sort of situation.
Honestly,
Just
it's
say
a
vet.
that's a difficult word.
Stick with vet.
All right. Vets and other vet professionals. And Dave, no, I'm not talking about military vets. I can see that look in your
I
eye.
was going to ask.
I mean, the context surely was enough, Dave.
Sorry, are you mispronouncing the word vest?
Look, I wouldn't put it past me. I have a close look. Oh, yeah, this is a vest-related message. Vets and other vet professionals have a much higher... Okay. Vets and other vet professionals have a much higher suicide rate than the general population. 2.7 times higher in the US and nearly 4 times higher in Australia. Freaking hell. That is grim. I had no idea.
Yeah.
My suggestion for the pet owners who listen is to try and please be kind to your vet nurses, and the receptionists. But I think this is true as well, even if it was vests. Be kind to them as well.
Be nice to vest receptionists.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't make as much. Vests don't have receptionists.
But they should.
Good ones do.
Yeah, that's right. Not ones that we can afford.
Yeah, where are you getting your vests?
Believe me, we are not the money-grubbing, uncaring bastards that we get called by clients on a nearly daily basis. Oh, that's fucking sucks. We would love to diagnose and treat your pet for free. Wouldn't that be, hey? That's
Wouldn't that be
utopia,
nice?
right?
Yeah.
If only, hey? Yeah, I that's right. I'm going to go on a communist rant. Let's bring it in.
Here we go.
I don't understand that stuff. Please don't take that seriously. I know it's not a perfect system. Hey?
Hey, nothing is.
Oh, I'm sweating all of a sudden. We would love to diagnose and treat your pet for free, but it's not practical because we have to pay the bills.
Of course.
And this brings me to my point. Capitalism.
Yeah,
Hey?
bills.
Let's give it the ass.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Communism.
What about like a good mix between capitalism and
Imagine.
communism?
Could we come up with something now?
Okay.
I feel like between the three of us, we could nut this one out.
Right here, right now.
Right? Yeah, let's do it.
Let's get through Betsy's
What about you
Okay.
take the
Thing
capital from capitalism and the
Yeah.
ism from communism?
Yeah.
capitalism.
Yeah, but
I
with a
like
hyphen,
that.
hyphen in
I
the
like
middle.
that.
Yeah, okay. Let's give it a
What
try.
about comatalism?
Oh,
That's fun.
yeah, I'm enjoying it. Where was I? If you have decided you want a pet in your life, please look into pet insurance. That's a good tip.
I have pet insurance.
You have pet insurance?
Absolutely. I have a French bulldog. You simply must.
Right.
Right, I don't have pet insurance because a friend told me that it was a scam, but there you go.
Ours has saved us thousands and thousands of
Oh,
dollars.
wow.
There you go.
Mixed messages here.
Yeah, I mean, that's all insurance, isn't it?
So yeah, pet insurance is Betsy's hot tip here.
Yep.
Saying we mourn right along with you when we can't help your pet. I mean, that just must be so grim dealing with that every day.
Oh,
Working
yeah.
in any sort of medicine and hospitals and,
Yeah.
and vet clinics
Yeah.
must be so tough.
And so underappreciated.
Exactly, like without them, it'd be,
Yeah.
freaking hell. Saying, so we mourn along with you. It hurts all the more when we're told that all we care about is money when we explain that we can't give away our services. I'll hop off my soapbox now. Hopefully the next fact quote or question is funnier for everyone. Oh man, Betsy, that's, that is grim. So sorry you have to deal with that.
Yeah, that obviously comes from a place of frustration for you, and rightly so, because you're doing great stuff, and people can be real dicks, and I'm sorry about that.
People
But
can be dicks.
I promise you, Betsy, I'm incredibly nice to my vet and the vet staff. And
Yes, they do great work.
They're the best.
I think under this new system, which we've dubbed capitalism, we should just make it a thing where everyone's nice to everyone.
I think that's fair, yeah.
Thank you so much, Betsy. Next one comes from Colin Wright with the title, Guy newly admitted to the Marriage and Family Therapy Masters Program at BYU, formerly known as Stressed Out Guy applying for grad school.
Oh,
Oh,
great.
I love that. Also, slipped in a little brag in the
Yeah,
title.
love
love that.
that.
Congratulations.
Love that.
Well, I mean, that's not it because Colin is giving us a brag.
Yes.
Yes, Colin.
Writing, it bloody worked, mates. A few months ago, I was submitting a fact about accountants while stressed out of my mind, hoping to get into a graduate program. Just yesterday, at the time of writing this, I was officially offered admission into one of the top marriage and family therapy programs in the US.
Yes.
Feels amazing, and I'm grateful to my wife for her support and all the other great mates who helped me get there. It's been a long road, and I can't believe we made it. I can't believe we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby. Well done for keeping eye contact. That was difficult.
It was
I
uncomfortable.
was really struggling, but as you kept going, so I kept going.
Honestly, I was staring right through you. I know.
I moved my head and kept my eyes. I'm like, I'm ready, just so I can swing him away.
Matt can't make eye contact with one of his closest friends.
Yeah. There's this. Maybe I could go talk to Colin. I don't know if marriage and family therapy would help with
Well,
us.
you're in a family. Not at this one, obviously. I wasn't
Oh,
being...
I thought you were about to say we're a family.
No, not at all. I'm
Well,
just saying
familiar.
you've got parents and siblings and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's right. Keep your own family, please.
Do you mind?
To me, friends are family.
No. Incorrect.
A guy called Vincent Diesel taught me that. It's been back to Colin. It's been a long road, and I can't believe we made it. In 2 years, imagine we got Colin like, can't believe we made it. In 2 years, you can expect to be updated on if/where I go for my PhD. Won't be as prestigious as a doctorate in podcasting, but still pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Thanks to Jess, Dave, and Matt for the high-quality edutainment, which has helped me at some of my most stressed moments on this journey. Cheers. Oh, cheers to you, Colin.
Good on you, Colin.
And
That's really
congratulations.
exciting.
Good
well
on
done.
you, Colin. Legend.
Seems like there'll be, plenty more stressful situations in the years to come and will be here, buddy.
Yes.
You know?
Hey, was that song we were just singing, Shania Twain?
Yeah.
She came up twice this episode. How about that?
Isn't that crazy?
And finally, Dave Loring. I should say I read these really fumbly because I don't read them till I read them.
Yeah, that's
for
right.
new listeners. Dave has the title of, oh no, a querulous quizzler of quote questions, quoters, and fancy pants finder of frivolous facts. Well, not too bad.
You fucking nailed
Too
that.
bad there. I don't know if I pronounced querulous right.
But that flow.
There was
beautiful.
flow. Sometimes it's funny the tongue twisters actually get in a flow.
Yeah.
And there is a stress going on in my mind, like, I'm on it, but I'm going to fall off like I'm
Yes.
snowboarding or something. Like,
Yeah.
it's happening. I've only snowboarded once, and that's how it felt the whole time. Oh shit! I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
I've only done snowboarding once too, and it was on a year 8 camp, and I had to stop and fall on my ass every 4 or 5 meters because that's the only way I knew how to slow down.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going too fast.
Yeah.
I got to the bottom of the hill and I went back up in the chairlift, and then I went and got a hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I went on year 10.
Après choc.
Year 10 ski camp, which was on my 16th birthday, which was pretty cool. And skiing down the hill, snowboarder ran into me because he was falling and just slid into me and knocked me up, and my skis went flying off me. Isn't that cool?
Whoa.
I was fine.
I'm sure I've told this before, but I had a similar thing, only it was my fault. When
Hang on, was this in 2006?
Yeah.
August 26th?
probably was, to be honest,
Oh my God.
sometime.
Imagine though.
Holy shit.
Imagine.
Oh, whoa.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
Oh, no, it would have been later than that. But it was it was just up on Hotham for a couple of days. First day was a lot of falling over. Second day I was starting to get a bit of a hang of it, and I was just flying down the hill. And a guy's going, "Whoa, no!" And it was an instructor.
Oh no.
And I'd gone off track, and he sort of like, I was going too fast in an area and veered into an area I shouldn't have been somehow. And so I sort of purposely fell through a fence, like one of those sort of plastic fences that you could fall through, landed on my back, my helmet flew. I flew through this class of kids learning. And
Oh my God.
just like it was a real... Just sprayed across the whole thing. Apparently, my mates who were good skiers and snowboarders said it was very funny to watch.
That is amazing.
That's great.
Shout out to that helmet that just fell off at the first sign of danger.
And I'm out. I can't handle it. It's too much pressure.
This guy's wired.
I got to keep him alive somehow.
Anyway, so Dave Loring has offered us a fact. This last one for this week. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. The Aztec Empire was founded by a triple alliance of 3 city-states, Tenochtitlan, Texcoco, and Tlacopan in 1428. Oxford University was teaching as early as 1096.
What?
And possibly earlier still, as there's no official record of its foundation.
Wow.
I can't quite tell if this means Oxford is way older than I initially thought, or that the Aztec Empire was around much more recently than I previously thought.
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah, I'm feeling the exact same.
Yeah.
Either way, I think it's a nifty fact to mess up my standard perception of history.
Yeah. That's
Bang
cool.
on, Dave. Yeah, that's wild.
And well described with the use of the word nifty.
Yeah, that was nifty.
God, I love... No, people don't say nifty enough.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Bring back nifty.
Thank you very much, Dave. Great fact. Yeah, like I say, if you're on the Sydney Schomburg level, you get to give us those. We also like to thank a few of our other great supporters. And Jess, you normally come up with a game that's sort of based on the topic of the day.
Yeah, we are going to tell who they fill in for.
Oh, good one.
Yeah. Band or otherwise, could be anything.
Could be anything.
Love that. All right, if I could kick us off.
Yeah.
No address here, so I can only assume deep from within the fortress of the mole. It is a person simply named Cube.
Cube.
Cube. Big shout out to Cube, who is, of course, Nicolas Cage's stunt double.
Yeah,
wow.
I was going to say Ice Cube, but that's Nicolas Cage is good too. We'll go with that.
Nicholas, yeah, just subs in for the Cage.
Sometimes
Yeah.
the Cage.
Love that. I often think when people don't have their address in and then just a one-word name. Like, do they even know they're getting the shout-out? But I reckon Cube would know.
Cube will know.
Yeah,
You're right. When it's just like Samantha, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, there's so many of you Samanthas.
But there's
Yeah,
how many
there's
cubes
so
do
many
How many
Samanthas
cubes?
over there, out there.
Oh my God,
Not enough Mirandas, if you ask me.
Couldn't agree more.
Not enough cubes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, you Cube. I'd also love to thank from Smithfield in North Carolina. Quick fact about North Carolina. They have, in some areas, blue fire engines instead of red. And Michael Jordan wore his high school pants under his other pants in the NBA.
Pants.
Pants.
Just want to say pants again.
Short pants.
Short pants.
Short pants for long.
Yeah.
Or shorts for short. Or pant, you know. Anyway, from Smithfield, North Carolina, I'd love to thank Brian Siddle.
Ooh.
Or Seidel.
Brian.
He filled in for Australian fast bowler Peter Siddle.
Oh.
Really?
Famously eats lots of bananas.
Yeah, like 600 a day.
600.
Okay,
That's
I've
even more than I realised.
Gone a bit high there.
That's a bit hyperbolic, isn't it,
But I
Dave?
believe that he, a famous vegan,
Yes.
Peter Siddle, went vegan and didn't look back.
Just
Yeah.
eats way too many bananas.
Just a real buff, elite sportsman who eats lots of bananas.
Wow.
I think it is like a couple of dozen a day.
Yeah, it's like a lot of bananas.
No, thank you. I don't want to do that.
So I wonder
Do I
if-
have to?
does Brian Siddle or Brian Seidel have to eat the bananas to
Half.
really fill in?
He's only filling in
Oh,
for
true.
a couple of days. You don't have to go full
13 days, yeah.
13 days. So you're eating 6 bananas a day.
Okay, well, there you go, Brian.
Hope you're not allergic,
Enjoy.
Brian.
Hopefully you're in need of some potassium.
Can
Finally,
you
for
have
me,
too much potassium?
I reckon.
I think you can have too much of anything, right?
True.
Except
You can have too
a
much
good
water.
thing.
Yeah. Finally, from me, I'd love to thank from West Valley City in Utah.
Give me two.
It's Ben Robinson
Ben
filling in for
Robinson.
Keanu
Yeah, filling in for Keanu.
in the film
Point Break.
Point Break.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously it's a lot working with not Nick Nolte, but the other guy.
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey.
But that actually
the
helped me.
Buse.
I forgot his name until you said the guy he looks like. Then I remembered. Honestly,
I remember this as well. The
Yeah.
game you played at your show,
Oh,
where you
yes.
got the crowd and you realise as you're doing it, they actually don't look that much alike.
so
do
the game, the show you're talking about is the world record show where we broke made up world records, and the audience record that night was me and Andy Matthews and Adam Knox. Is a show we used to do. And the world record for the best people at telling the difference between Nick Nolte and Gary Busey, because they
Yeah.
look kind of alike.
they? Yeah, they've got a similar vibe.
But when
or
you blow
something.
them up, like, you know, on the size of a giant projector screen, it's very easy.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, Nolte, Busey, Nolte, Nolte,
Yeah.
Busey.
It's not like Margot Robbie and one of those other actors that looks like Margot Robbie. Because they're much more... There's like 4 Margot Robbie looking actors. And they actually would be confused.
I will always be able to identify Margot Robbie.
Really?
Always.
Wow. I reckon we should put that to the test at some point.
I can do it.
But you're absolutely right that Ben Robinson needed to fill in for Keanu because Gary Busey's a lot.
He's a
a
lot.
big personality, and on set he just needed a little break, so he
Yeah.
filled in for Keanu.
Keanu went and had a little lie down. Ben jumped in.
Good work, Ben.
Bob, would you like to thank a few of our great supporters?
I would love to thank some people. I would love to thank from deep within the fortress of the moles, address unknown, David.
Okay, well, this is a good example of what
Yeah.
I was talking about. Wonder if David has any idea he's the David we're talking
David, is it David Cube?
about. David Cubed. David. Who's David filling
David's
in for?
filling in for the Edge's guitar.
Oh,
Whoa.
off for the actual guitar.
Yeah, so the Edge forgot to pack his guitar on tour, so he got down on his hands and knees.
Wow.
The Edge looked like he was playing it, but really he was just whispering into a microphone. Dung, digga, dung, digga, dung, digga, dung, digga, dung, digga, dung, digga, dung. You know, the classic U2 sound.
Yeah. Which Edge invented.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. And
Pretty
now
cool.
David's taken it to the next level with
Yeah.
a bit of a cappella
Ding, ding, ding,
guitar.
ding, ding. Sounded
Wow.
more like Barracuda by heart, but
Bow, wow, bow. Yeah.
ding, 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 ding. But that was Edge's sound. Maybe Heart ripped him off.
I
Probably.
definitely ripped him off.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David. I would also love to thank, again, from deep within the fortress of the moles, but probably one that, will be identifiable. I would love to thank Tambalonius.
Oh, that's so
my
good.
God, that felt so nice in my ears.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Whoa,
hope-
Tambalonius.
That gave you a full body reaction.
Oh.
You did a little like arm.
I
It
did a
made you,
spoof. A full body spoof. Let's not take your mind to the gutter.
Okay.
Nothing
A
gross
brain
here.
spoof,
Come on,
everybody. Please don't be
people.
yuck.
Come on, people.
Not that
don't
there's
be-
anything yuck about spoof.
Tambelonius.
That's not true. There's a lot of
Yeah.
yuckiness about spoof.
Tambelonius actually filled in for Barack Obama.
Wow.
Wow, that's a big job.
Barack Obama actually, he had double booked himself.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know, his team had double booked him. So he's not doing his
Mrs.
own
Doubtfire
appointments.
style.
Yeah, and so
2 dinners in the same restaurant.
that's right. And it was he couldn't keep going back and forth. And Tambelonius happened to be there and said, "Mr. President, it would be my honour."
It would be my honour.
Yeah,
I don't know why I tried to do that.
that wasn't bad. Yeah.
Thank you very much to Tambelonius.
And finally, for me, I would love to thank from Cork in Ireland, Cian Griffin.
Cian Griffin, so glad you got that one because I would have said Cyan or something like
I had
that.
to
Or
remind
Sian?
myself.
Sean, yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, Sean
it's
is different.
Cian,
Sean is S.
Cian Griffin.
S-I-A-N. C-I-A-N is Cian or Keen.
Great work, Keen.
Keen.
Love it.
From Cork. Keen from Cork. Love that. Cian Griffin obviously filled in for Jimmie Nicol. Yes, that 13-day tour. Jimmy...
No.
He had a bit of a bad hangover
No,
on one of those shows and it needed to fill in himself. And that's when Cian stepped in.
Wow.
He just happened to be standing side of stage twirling some sticks
Wow.
because he was practicing for Olympic gymnastics. And they said, hey,
Stick twirling.
can you... Is that one of the things they do?
Mm-hmm.
He said, hey, why don't you twirl those sticks over here?
Yeah,
And they
this
sat
drum
him on the
kit.
drum kit and he never played before, but he freaking nailed
I
it.
mean, the audience couldn't hear the drums anyway.
That's true.
So they're just like, just twirl that a little bit to a beat if you can.
Yeah.
And I will pay you $45,000.
That's right. Because
Wow.
you know in the story, Cam mentioned how the early shows it looked like Jimmie Nicol didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
That was actually
Ken.
Cian. Yeah.
Wow.
wow.
There you go. Well, and we thank you for that.
That's how he nailed the look,
Great.
though. He got the haircut. They fitted him up for a suit.
Yeah.
So what is he
They
like?
lost
The
him.
9th Beatle, the 10th Beatle?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I liked how Cam seemed to have a definitive 5th and 6th. Because
Yeah.
usually they'll just say, like, there's a million 5th Beatles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked how Cam brought a bit of sort of clarity to that
Yeah,
whole
which was
numbering
nice.
system.
He ranked them.
Dave, you want to thank some people?
Yes, could I please thank from Bendigo here in Victoria, Matt Allen.
Matt Allen. Say hello to my auntie Rose, who lives in Bendigo.
While
Oh,
you're
right.
filling in for her partner, Derek.
Derek.
Is that? Oh, you don't want to give away his name.
No.
He's not dead or something, is he?
No, he's
Oh
not.
my god!
He's not.
But you don't want to say.
But
his
she
name.
does not have a partner.
Well, she didn't
Until
until Matt stepped
Allen.
up. So really filling a gap in the
Oh my
market here.
God, Matt, actually, I mean, you hit the jackpot.
Rose is living happily by herself, but yeah, she did get herself into a sticky situation when she told the nosy neighbor
Yeah.
that she couldn't come to dinner because her
Yes.
partner had his tuba recital.
Yeah.
So
She
then
needed
she
someone who played the
scrambled. She had to find someone who played the tuba. Matt, you were nearby. So you came in tubering away and worked out perfectly. Thank you so much for saving Rose's day.
You're a hero.
You're a hero.
The hero we needed. Thank you, Matt.
Great. And next up, I'd like to thank from California, and the location is Castaic.
Castaic, California. Love
No idea. Never heard of that one, I'm afraid.
No.
But famous for the
it.
location.
Calls himself a geography nerd.
I'll never forget that is the place where Frankie E lives.
Frankie.
Frankie E.
Frankie!
It is an unincorporated
Frankie.
community in the northwestern part of Los Angeles County.
Ah, there you go. Cool.
Sounds like Frank wrote his name down as he was falling off a cliff.
Frankie
E. Double E.
Yeah.
E. Surname E.
Maybe middle initial E.
It's
Oh,
part
true.
of, the people also ask, is Castaic a nice place to live? The homes are more affordable than closer to the city, and it's one of the top 10 safest cities in America.
Wow.
There you go. Great place to live, Frankie. Who fills in for...
Al Pacino.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that sounds like...
I can't do an Al Pacino.
I swear I've heard you do a great one before.
Yeah.
No.
What's I give her a line to work with? What do you got? Or something like that.
I cannot.
Is that something
I
he
don't think
might say?
I've ever seen an Al Pacino.
Have we done a hooah type thing? Yeah, maybe it's Matt.
I think it's Matt. I can't do a Pacino.
I can't
I can
either.
do almost anyone else.
But do you know who can?
Who?
Frankie E.
Frankie.
Yeah. Just do a De Niro.
Jess is absolutely nailing
De
a
Niro's
silent
more
De
in the
Niro.
face.
Yeah.
It's like an upside down mouth.
But you know how you know a Pacino script?
How?
Covered in coffee, according to that coffee commercial that he
Oh
did.
my God! Yeah, of course, Al Pacino.
And then he goes, and then he just taps,
Are you thinking of cappuccino?
No, he does. He does say
and then
that.
he just taps the table and goes, "That's good coffee."
Yeah.
I haven't seen that, but I love the sound of it. I'm big fan of the patch.
You know what's funny?
Can I call him
That
that?
actually wasn't even Pacino. He won't do commercials because he's obviously an Academy Award winning actor.
Yeah. Why would he?
He gets Frankie E to do the commercials as
Wow.
him.
Yeah. That's how good Frankie is.
Well
that
done,
we
Frankie.
believed it was Al.
What have you got?
That's good coffee. And finally, I'd like to thank from Seattle in Washington, it's Matthew Abbott. Or Matthew Abbott.
Yeah, from Seattle, obviously. He is listening as he fills in for...
Fraser Crane.
Okay.
Wow. On the air?
I was
Yeah.
going a different direction,
Where
but...
were you going?
Well, famously, Kurt Cobain listened in Seattle. One of his big things. He listened, and then he played music based on that. But yeah, I guess Fraser could also probably listen. Does he have anything to do with Seattle and listening, though?
Yeah. Because he says, I'm listening on the radio. Doesn't he?
Yeah. He hears the blues are calling, for example.
You know what? You're
Toss
right.
salad and scrambled eggs.
Oh my God, you are right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Great work,
Maybe I
Matthew.
seem a bit confused. Well, maybe. But I got you pegged.
Is that Pacino?
That's Pacino. Yeah.
I don't know what to do without toss salad and scrambled
That was a really funny
eggs.
coincidence that I said a thing that worked in that context. Sometimes you and I just NSYNC. Like Juzzy T
Yes.
and one of the other members of that
Lance
band.
Bass.
Lance
Joey
Bass.
Fatone and the other one.
And
Is there a
the
Kevin? There's
rest.
probably a Kevin.
There is in the Backstreet Boys.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Thank you so much, Matthew, Frankie, Matt,
Kian.
Kian, Tambalonius, David, Ben, Brian, and Cube. And finally, what we need to do is invite a few people into the Trip Ditch Club. The way this works,
There's a
there's
few,
7
Dave.
inductees this week after only 1 last week. Dave is the hype man. I'm going to read out the names. I'm on the door. This is a club you get to enter
Yeah.
once being a supporter on the shout-out level or above for 3 straight years. So Dave's in there. He's in the club. This is theatre of the mind stuff. I'll read out your name. Dave's going to hype you up. Jess is going to keep Dave up and about because he's not very good at it, and Jess needs to sort of boost his self-esteem so he can just get through it. Jess normally has a cocktail named after the show as well behind the bar.
Yeah, we got Beatlemania.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've taken liqueurs that are all colours that you'll find Beatles in.
Yeah. Christmas Beatles.
Yeah, and then
cetera.
I pour them into a glass. It's like a Long Island iced tea in that it's full of alcohol and
Yeah.
it will fuck you
Oh,
up.
I love that.
But it's pretty delicious. And then I've
Flavour
made
covered by Coke.
I've made little sausage rolls, but in the shape of Beatles.
Oh, fantastic.
I misunderstood.
And Dave, you normally book a band.
Yes, obviously a very musical
after
episode.
party.
We've talked about a lot of great artists on this episode, and amazingly, coincidentally, of course, we've booked NSYNC.
Oh my
Holy
god!
shit.
All 5 members, which I'll now name: Justin Timberlake, Joey Fatone, Lance Bass, JC Chasez, and Chris Kirkpatrick.
Okay, those last 2, I don't think I've ever heard.
I think that's a reference in an Eminem song that makes sense now.
Chris Kirkpatrick, you can get your ass kicked. Better than those little Limp Bizkit bands. Isn't it weird that lyrics like that say, is that one of his big songs?
I think it's Without Me.
Okay, that is like
That's
his
quite.
big song.
That's quite big.
Is that Mum Spaghetti? No.
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 I saw him play at the Dockland Stadium.
Big fan. Big fan,
fan.
obviously.
I had a phase for a while where I would not say no to any concert. I'm like, but if a mate wants to go see a concert, I will go with them. So I saw all sorts of bands for a little while there. Not that I'd don't like Eminem, but I just wasn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't normally spend a lot of money, which the ticket would have cost to go see him. Anyway, so we've got 7 inductees. You ready, Dave? Because your time starts
Okay.
You got this.
now. From Lena Valley in Tasmania, Australia, it's Eleanor.
Ring the bell, Anna! Ding, ding, ding!
that is
From
good.
Clarksville in Maryland, United States, I'd love to welcome in Natalie Greenlee.
Ooh, Natalie, have some green tea.
Yes,
Please,
take
take a
that
seat.
last train. And from Jarrow in Tyne and Ware in Great Britain, it's Patrick Ward.
Oh, can we give this guy an award?
Yes, best Patrick.
From
Yes, good one.
Address Unknown, deep from within the Fortress of the Moles, it's Jordan Roundtree.
Ooh, more like Jordan Roundhouse as you kick the door down. Welcome.
Also from Address Unknown, it's Akela Talamasca.
Telemaska. Wow, that's an amazing name. I thought you were going to say Aquila there. Sorry. all right.
Akela Talamasca.
Aquila, I feel ya. That's what I was
Yes.
gonna
Wait,
go with.
I thought you were riffing. Have you done homework here tonight?
Yeah, I've written these down.
From Muncie in Indiana.
Oh, that's cool.
Home of the
So
Muncie
good.
Flyers.
What?
Which was one of the original football teams we talked about in the Super Bowl episode. It's Kyle R. Haggerty.
Let's get Maggity.
Yes.
And finally, from Baton Rouge in Louisiana, United States, it's Jody Scram.
Scram, everyone else, because Jody's here.
Yeah.
And they're number one.
Get out.
Welcome into the club, Jody, Kyle, Akila, Jordan, Patrick, Natalie, and Eleanor.
Ugh.
Welcome in all. As always, fantastic names.
And great location names too.
yeah.
So good. So that brings us to the end of the episode. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. Jess, what do we need to tell people before we go?
Just to remind them once again that they can get tickets to see our live podcasts.
Getting emotional about
Are you okay? Are you worried that people aren't coming?
How old are you?
People are...
It would really mean a lot to me if you would. No, I needed to burp. Come and see our live podcast at the Comedy
Sorry, I always choke up at this time.
Comedy Festival. Matt, we really need to sell some tickets.
Yeah.
It's looking grim.
Okay. That is a grim fact.
So
Everyone,
let's...
please buy.
Come along.
For the price of 3 if you get the season pass. And the dogoonpod.com you can get tickets to our shows.
So come along. It's going to be a ripper great time. If you want to suggest a topic, there is a link in the show notes that you can do that. You can also do that at dogoonpod.com. If you want to get in touch, dogoonpod@gmail.com and dogoonpod across all social media if you want to, I don't know, see what we look like or be up to date with what the topic is going to be this week. Yeah, Dave, boot it home.
Thank you so much. We'll be back next week with another fantastic episode. But until then, I'll say thank you so much and goodbye.
Later.
Bye.